This is Darren Banks, and you're listening to the Sheriff Podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to an exclusive episode of The Sheriff. Today, guys, I get to have one of my idols today that I've actually been looking up to for a long time. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I've actually never met this guy, but I've been watching him. I admire him. And boy, oh boy, is he ever a big character. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Mr. Craig Martin, how are you doing today, my friend?
Oh, Sean, the Sheriff McMarl. I'm doing well, buddy. You know what, man? I just want to start off. Thank you very much for having me. And you know what? These days, things are pretty good. Pretty good.
Well, yeah, man. I mean, that's an underestimation of what I've been hearing for you, and I'm really happy for you, bro. I can't wait to get into some of the stuff. I mean, you got some really exciting coaching news that I was very lucky to hear before we started recording, and I hope that we get to talk about that. I don't want to spoil the beans. I'd like you to say it once we get into it. But yeah, I'd love to talk about the coaching. Of course, bro, you've had such an incredible career. We actually, and it's been to the fault of us, Craig. We're supposed to have you on before, and I mean, it's glad that we have you now. But because we released the poster, there's such a big following that has asked about, hey, when is the Craig Martin episode coming out? Right? And then we're like, well, I mean, we're having it. He's on the list. We're excited too. We're glad that you checked up. But really, it was just like, well, we had to reschedule with him. And, you know, like it was our fault, but don't worry, we're going to have him on soon. But, you know, so I'm really happy to have you on, dude.
You're a team player, man. You're a team player. Thank you.
Yeah. And you know what? The team stuff is also another big thing that I'd like to get into as well. And I can't wait to get that because I like to get the listeners to know Craig, because a lot of the listeners here are big fans of the role players, big fans of the character guys, right? And you were a huge one, man. I can't wait to get into some of that kind of stuff too. But Craig, my style is I love to go to the beginnings. I want to talk about Amherst, Nova Scotia, man. I've been hearing a lot about this small town. I don't even know if we could call it a town or what it's technically called. But let's talk about what do you Scotians say about home? There's like a word you say, like, is it home? Is that the word that it is? Home.
East Coast.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
East Coast. Like you'll get a lot of, like, I mean, being up here in the Toronto area now, you have a lot of like Black people that are from Nova Scotia. So they'll refer to themselves as Scotians. I find that term goes with more city people. I'm country. I like my fishing and, you know, so yeah, so I'd say East Coast 100%.
Right on. Now, I've been blessed to have a couple of guests on, you know, from Nova Scotia that are Scotian. And man, there is so much history and culture where you are from, man. And like, so were you actually born in Amherst and then your family just stayed there and you lived there your whole life growing up until you went to junior?
Exactly. Right. I was born in Amherst. I have twin brothers. They're 5 years older. They were born in Toronto, and then my mom and dad moved back to Amherst, and then they separated. And then my brothers ended up going with my dad back to Toronto, and I stayed in Nova Scotia with my mom. So I was an Amherst boy right from my minor hockey, my novice, right up to AAA. And then I ended up getting into the junior ranks.
Yeah. So do you say you have twin brothers?
Yeah.
So do they look like you?
You know what? Yeah. I mean, I'm more buff like my dad was, and my brother's more lean like my mom. But yeah, if you put three of us in a room, yeah. You can tell that my brothers are almost identical. But I mean, I know them obviously, so I can tell the difference. But yeah, if all three of us are in a room, you can definitely, we're brothers. So,
and did they play hockey, Craig?
They played hockey until I want to say Pee Wee, not Bantam. I'd say Pee Wee. Maybe Bantam.
Okay.
Because back then, both my brothers played forward, but my one brother Ronnie, he played nets, and I remember he still has a scar across his nose because back then they didn't wear face masks.
Oh
And so I
yeah.
still remember getting a puck right in the
Oh
right in the
my
snout. So
God.
yeah.
That's right.
But they got in basketball, so they play a lot of ball.
Mm. And like obviously Amherst is a sports rich area, it seems like. Like I'm gonna spoil the beans. Like I had Mr. Bill Riley, a fellow Amherst gentleman, on the show, and he was saying to me, like, of that town, he said 10,000. What would you say it is? Is that what you say as well?
I would have said 9, 10. Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
So he's like, Sean, in a town like that, it's an incredible thing that myself, Craig Martin, and correct me if I don't say the pronunciation right, but the Mr. McFarland, his son, right?
Yeah.
All played professional hockey from such a small town in Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
And like obviously, with you and Bill with your NHL experience, like that's pretty incredible, man. Like do you guys get recognized in that town, like as hockey players? Like how does all that work? Like I know the country's more old school, so they don't just like put people up on billboards like they would if the guy was from Toronto and he just got drafted. You might see him on the CN Tower in a poster or something. But do they make a big deal about you guys, or?
Yes, I'd say over time.
Yeah.
Recognition was given. Like, I mean, Billy has his name raised in the arena, because he was the pioneer, right? And he got into coaching, did a lot of junior stuff, got back involved with the community there.
Yep.
I say when it came to me and Mark, the people that mattered, like unbelievable support, unbelievable. But there's a lot of haters too, unfortunately. But for the most part, it's a great little town, a lot of hockey history. But the people that mattered really did support 100%.
Yeah. And I mean, it's interesting that you said that, because like that's about the haters, because there's haters everywhere. And what I realized is, and I also recently seen this little like viral video of one of LeBron James's, like, how LeBron James has got into like producing, and he's got like the shows going, and he's got that like barbershop talk show, whatever that's called. It's like, it's all on like American cable. Like we don't get it like on the regular cable here. You have to have like a package to get it. But I heard a little clip where he's kind of like, you can't really mind what anyone says anymore, because the ability that social media has created, where like Craig, like me and you could have a beef today and could be going back and forth on like Facebook comments and commenting on pictures and then direct messages. And then there's all this like cyber bullying now. And you know what I mean? So like, it's so easy to stir somebody up, bro, without even leaving your couch. And you might not even be in the same country as them, but you're going to affect them. They even have to see a counselor because of, what you could do to them. So LeBron's like, you can't just, like, the haters are everywhere. You kind of have to like almost ignore everything. Before, you kind of had to consider a certain circle, but now it's just kind of like, other than your inner circle, it really doesn't matter, man, because anyone can talk trash. And with the social media, it's incredible, you know?
100%. Yeah.
And I think it's important for like the players that are listening to this to know that that's part of the package, Craig. You know what I mean? Especially if you're someone that doesn't look like the average hockey player. You know what I mean? Like there's going to be a package that comes with it where you're going to need support. You're going to need to have thick skin. You're going to need to know how to react and what to say when you're in situations that may not be fair, but you're in them, and you have to represent the people that you represent as best as you can, right?
Yes, I agree. And I wasn't like, I take what you just said seriously.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at my son here coming down with his hockey gear on. He's on his way to practice. He's eating a chicken wing.
Well, yeah. Hey, Craig, does he have a minute that he can come into the screen? Because I know we had him before recording. Or is he late? If he's late, tell him to go.
Really? You're going to come in with the chicken wing?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Awesome. Hey, dude, do you think that you can introduce yourself? I mean, obviously, I know you're Craig's son, but you're going to be a future hockey player. I got to get the people used to you now, man. Just say your name and where you're from.
I'm Isaiah and I'm from Toronto.
Right on, man. Isaiah from Toronto. And who do you play for this year?
The Scarborough Young Bruins.
The Scarborough Young Bruins. And are you guys approaching the playoffs right now? Like, where are you in the season, my man?
Yeah. We have one more game, then it's the playoffs.
Yeah. So who do you guys play in your final game?
North York.
North York. Do you have a message to say to North York about your final game of the season? What's going to happen in that game?
I don't know.
Well, what do you want to happen? A big W for your team?
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy. Right on, man.
Yeah, no, don't give them anything to feed on. So there you go.
Yeah, man. And hey, man, if I know that you're like your dad, you're super competitive, but you got to keep it as fun as possible, buddy. You know, this is a time to enjoy your teammates, you enjoy the journey, and just live it day by day, buddy. You know what I mean? And you're doing great. I want you to keep up the good work. And I'm not too sure if you should be eating chicken wings before practice, man. Is it a practice you're going to right now?
Yeah.
All right, man. Okay. You're doing great though, man, but I'm not sure about the chicken wing. Okay, bud? That's debatable, man, but it's okay. You gotta pass on this one. You got a mulligan only because you did well this year.
See, buddy.
We got to get him used to the interviews, Craig. We got used to it, man. Hey, a kid. Hey, man, you got good genes. A kid that looks like that, an athlete. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Speaks well.
Yeah.
Lots of opportunity for kids like that, right? Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get into like obviously there's the history part that we mentioned about Nova Scotia. Now here's my question to you. So we were talking before the recording again. You're asking where I was from. I'm born in Vancouver, but raised in Toronto, Scarborough in particular, Ontario boy. And we have our history here, but the Maritimes has a special kind of history. Underground Railroad. First freed slaves, the sports history, the power of hockey in the Maritimes, especially when it comes to Black hockey players, Marty. Yeah. And like talking to guys like Bill Riley really opened my eyes because he mentioned stuff like he would be going to arenas and he would be seeing Black hockey players, and these guys would be good players, man, very good players, but nobody was offering them to come to a junior tryout. Nobody was offering them to come to a semi-pro tryout, maybe, United Hockey League, or, they could work their way up. Nothing was going on like that because it worked differently before. There wasn't drafts for junior and stuff before, right, Craig? So it was more about kind of who you knew. All the teams would send out their letters, invite you to camp. The Black players weren't getting those opportunities. Now, what my question is that, so for Bill, like, I believe the man was born in 1950. You look like you're about 5 years younger than me, but you're about 9 years older. You're what are you? You're a 71, right? So you're a 71. And did you see that, like, at all? Like, kind of what Bill explained, like, because I'm trying to get like a kind of timeline of when things kind of might have changed.
Growing up in Amherst, we watched a lot of junior. So Billy was already gone. You know what I mean? So I didn't get the chance to really watch him go through the ranks. He was already gone away playing like with the Alpines, Moncton Hawks, Washington. Now on the flip side, with the junior, there were some black guys that were in the league, right? Like Dwayne Lucas, a couple other guys like that. And so I noticed that. But here's the thing, Sean, like I have an aunt that is really, really huge in history, and she's done a lot for the Black hockey movement. And there's movies made and stuff, and she's a part of digging up a lot of the information. I didn't even know. Craig? Liz Sumbu Cook, Sumbu, Liz Sumbu Cook. And like I had family members that used to play on the Black Aces, and I never even knew this growing up. I didn't even know until like years ago that where the term Black Aces came from. And And like, when you're playing like a pro and then, you're the guy sitting out, like just practicing. Like
I didn't know either, man.
I didn't know what
Right?
it meant. I didn't take any like
A black
I,
ace.
I didn't take it negatively or anything, and I still
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
But
You didn't know the meaning.
Yeah. So I'm just learning this now, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like black ice, like reading the book now, just read, like it's amazing because, and I'm sad at the same time because like there's so much hockey history that we as like black men and athletes don't even know. Like,
It's
you know what I
been
mean?
buried though. It's been buried.
Buried.
Greg.
There you go. There you go.
And we need to speak about it. I had Kirk Brooks on the show a couple months back. I don't know if you know Brooksy, obviously.
Yes.
Very close with Brooksy. And Brooksy said very similar things, bro. Okay. About the fact that there's all these great black hockey players that are still alive and they're around, man. And no one's talking about them, right? And, one thing that I was able to kind of get into with Bill was, he was number 3. Okay. He was number 3. Okay. So Willie was in 58. And then it took 17 years, I think, for Marzin and Bill Riley to come 2 and 3, same season, same team, the nation's capital. 2 black NHL hockey players in 1974 played on the same line, on the same team, and nobody talks about it. How does that make sense, Craig? Isn't it something? No, but like, I mean, Billy said that he and Mike Marzin want the NHL to hire them so that they could be mentors and advisors to not just black hockey players, but to all hockey players. Because Willie did his thing, right?
Yeah.
Willie did his thing. We're all so thankful that he broke that barrier. Should have been Herb Carnegie, but Willie did it. We're very thankful. We're blessed. Willie hung for about, I think it was 45 games over about a season and a half. And that was that. Mike Marzin and Bill Riley, these guys are getting 40, 50 points. Yeah. Marzin's second, third on his team and scoring. You know what I mean? And no one knows that, buddy. Before I started this show, I had to start a hockey podcast and be able to get on a level where I could get these guests to learn about that. And I want to know about it. And I didn't know. And I'm 40 years old now, a black hockey player. You know what I mean? I was lucky enough to get a sniff in the NHL. I had no idea. I didn't even know about Bill Riley, bro. How embarrassing is that to say? Until a few years ago, I wasn't sure. The name Mike Marzin, I knew because he's a Scarborough man.
Yes.
So I knew from like Brooksy and those guys, heard the name Marzin coming up as a kid, and then the NHL was mixed in with the affiliation, and I'm like, yeah, it was okay. So he must have been a black guy that made it to the NHL, Mike Marzin, right on. You know what I mean? And then obviously the NHL started, appreciating Willie O'Ree. I'd say kind of more so over the last 10 years. Boston finally retired his number just this past year, right? So things are kind of moving, but I know I might be sounding a little bit annoying, but we need to speak about it, man. It's so important. It's such a big a part of history for hockey, and awareness. Awareness leads to action, and we really need people to be known about this rich history, man. And a lot of it comes from the Maritimes, from the Black Aces, from all of that, man.
Yeah. And Sean, you know what? This is I just met you. We met each other, getting to know each other. And that's why, just right now, I'm just so proud of you. And you should be proud of yourself, of giving this platform, this vehicle, to be able to talk about these things, to bring light to these, because I would like to run into them, Marzi. I'd like to run into Valgrain or friggin' McKegney, any of them. You know what I mean? To say, hey, how you guys doing, man? I used to watch you guys, Could you imagine being in the same room of all those guys?
Man,
Yeah.
but it should be happening. But Craig, here's the thing, and like it's kind of cool that we're talking about this. And I swear this isn't planned; it just popped up in my head. But me and Danny were contacted a couple of weeks back by a gentleman that I mean, you probably I'm in a loss for names now, so I'm gonna get to the point of the facts though. We were contacted about the Black Hockey History Tour that does their tour around and they, you know, they do it every year. And this year they're coming to Toronto, I think it's March 31st. And the gentleman asked me to try to get as many players as I can that have NHL on their resumes to take a picture in front of the bus when the bus comes to Toronto. So, you know, the thing is though, is that, you know, I was talking to Brooksy about it. And although there is a lot of representation from like Scarborough specifically, but also Toronto,
Man,
and the
you
West End,
veterans, man.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the only guys that are around is my sniff, Sean McMorrow, Stu, yourself. I would love Brooksy to come because he's been a part of the process. There's a gentleman that's in Ottawa. I'm going to lost their names again. That is willing to drive down that Brooksy knows that has some NHL games as well.
Bob something?
I think
Is his
so.
name Bob?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Craig, like, would you be interested in doing something like that?
Yeah, man. Like anything. Like
This is just an excuse for me to hang out with you, dude. Really, you know what I mean?
100%, I'd be interested, man. Just to meet people, to talk. When I went to Brooksy, I met Brooksy about 2 months ago. I didn't meet him. We talked, and
Really?
I noticed that through a mutual friend, they said he has a tournament every year, and it's just like it's like of all colors, kids of all ages just come, right, and through a seaside and everything. So I said, all right, I'm going to take the boys. And when I walked into that arena, was it
Malvern or Commander?
When I walked into that arena, and once I saw. No, Canlan, York. Canlan, York.
Canlan Ice Sports. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Canlan.
Right on.
When I walked in, I saw brown faces, I saw black faces, I saw white faces, I saw Chinese. My chest went like this. You know what I mean? I felt just at home.
It
was just nice feeling when you walk into a rink and just say, "Hey, man, this is hockey. Let's go." The vibe that was going on, like it was awesome. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and like, I mean, it's also very important to emphasize that, or sorry, to magnify that, I should say, because, for example, it was a good comment by Ted Nolan's son, Brandon Nolan, where, you know, they have programs a lot for Indigenous programs. You know, Indigenous people just love it when they see someone that looks like them and that is successful, that's doing a sport that they're interested in. A lot of them will come out and they'll register. And I was saying to Brandon, you know, thank you, bro, for doing that, because it's a really big deal. And he's like, well, we have to. It's part of, we feel it's part of our responsibility. If we didn't do it, the registration would not only be down, but also it would just continue to enable the elite and the kids that are wealthy enough to play in the NHL. And that's it, just that group. But programs like Seaside Hockey and others, Hockey is for Everyone, many others that are making hockey inclusive, more accessible, which is probably the most important thing. Because, man, we know growing up, look at how many of our buddies could have done so well in hockey, man. But it was just so hard to get into it. Registration costs are so high. I mean, right away, it's like even if they had a link for equipment, let's say like a family on the street was like, yeah, our sons don't want to play hockey anymore. Here, boom, garbage bags of some equipment. Okay, so they have the equipment. All right, so you guys still want to play? You know, we got the equipment from the Joneses down the street. Right on. All right, so let's go to the tryouts for the Don Mills Flyers. How much is the registration if you make it? Oh, okay. Well, we don't have money like that, son. So, you know, maybe we'll try volleyball. How about that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then that's what it is, bro.
Yeah.
Right.
That's where I've been involved with the boys hockey here in the Toronto area for about the last 3/4 years. And they just happen to be at Ted Reeve. Okay. And that's what I noticed being an East Coast kid. The playing field is not level, and it's just different. You got, they do things differently in Toronto. Right. And,
It's crazy.
I don't want
eh?
to do things differently as a coach. Like maybe, there's some bumps in the road doing that, but I just want to try to, make it accessible to everybody, give everybody a fair shot, and still put a competitive team on the ice. But it was $350 for registration when I played.
Yeah.
If it was any more than that, I wouldn't have played. You know what I mean?
So that was okay. So $350 registration. So that would have been like 1980, early 80s when you were like 10 years old, going on from novice on.
You got it.
Now 2022, Craig Martin, what is the registration for AAA hockey? I have no idea.
The boys aren't at that level right now, but I'd say it's 10. It's probably just shy. Like some organizations that are just, try to keep it low, probably about $8,000, I'd say 7, 8. And the other ones are well over 10.
I was going to say, like, when you first answered, you almost said that. I was going to say, did you just say 10? $10,000?
Well, I mean, I don't know each organization.
No. But like approximately. That's what it is.
And that's your registration. And that's like your budget.
That's just the base.
Whatever you play. Yeah, like not the count, like getting to the games, like the equipment, practice time. If you want development time, like it's an animal, man. It's a lot.
Holy
so parents are definitely invested.
So, like,
it's a lot of money, man.
No, but like literally though, there's no way that a family that is a single parent family, where if let's say the mom made $40,000, which is a respectable job, there's no way that she could afford, if she has 3 kids, to have them all in AAA at 10,000.
It'd be tough. I don't see it. I don't see it.
No, it's impossible. So like, but that's what makes hockey not accessible enough right now. Yeah. And it's 100%. And that's why like guys like Kirk Brooks that have the Seaside program, like, I mean, like there was kids that showed up to Seaside, Craig, that came, they didn't even know about hockey bags. They just wanted to play. So there was an East Indian family that actually came with a box. Like the mom and dad came, the dad was a huge 6'5", big Indian guy. The son just really wanted to play. Dad, I want to play. All right. Well, I mean, is there equipment? There must be. I know they're on the ice, skates and helmets, and go grab a box from the garage. Like they have no idea, right?
Well,
but the kid, you know what? He was proud to bring his box. He picked all his equipment out, put it in the box, and walked right out with a big happy face. Came the next weekend for the first skate. Right?
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
You know what? And then, but when we were growing up, there wouldn't be opportunities like that, man. It was only if you had money.
Yeah.
There's the odd case, like, the Stewart brothers are a famous example of it, but there'll be the odd case where, Anthony Stewart, the best skater, best kid in the 1985 age group, in all of the MTHL at the time, now the GTHL, playing for the North York Canadians, Mr. Bob Law, God bless his soul, because my brother Patrick is the same age, and they started on the North York Canadians, Anthony Stewart and Patrick McMorrow, who is a lot better than me. He just stopped playing when he was like 15. So he just didn't have the desire, the passion that I did for the sport. Right. And, but Patty was the best out of all of us. And he played with Anthony all the way up. And it was so cool, Craig, just to see like my brother and Anthony on the same team. And the cooler thing is that Herb Carnegie's grandson, Rain, he was on the team too. So there was 3 of them. They were like the Edmonton Oilers in the early 2000s with Gruerzy, Anson Carter, and The Rock, right? So like for me though, like, okay, so they're a novice, 9 years old. I'm 12 because I'm 3 years older. So as a 12-year-old, buddy, I was inspired just to see my younger brother's team with 3 bros on the team, right? So like it's a big thing for people to see someone that looks like them, that they can look up to, be inspired, and do everything they can for the better good. Do you agree?
100% agree. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And
we need to do more of that, right? Like you're doing it right now. And like, myself and anybody that is in has an opportunity to be that mentor needs to do more of it.
yeah, dude. And like I think it's pretty cool. Like with your son's teams, I'm sure their teammates, like, they see like, oh, look at Mr. Martin, look how big he is playing the NHL. Like, you know what I mean? There's you'd be surprised, man. All those kids, man, they're all looking up to you, bro. It's not just your sons, it's all of them, right? So you have a big responsibility, my friend, right? So
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
yeah, no, for sure. Now, so also, Craig, I wanted to now just before, like, I can't wait to get into the Hall Olympic because that's what we're about to get into right now, my friend. But just before that, the last thing with the history with Nova Scotia, were you guys taught in school about those leagues, the Black Leagues, the Black Aces? Were you guys, because I know Scotians are proud people. You guys are the most proud people I know. You guys have the most confidence that I've seen. And it was probably derived from a long time ago with the ability to be free and to actually get a fair shot somewhat and thrive, right? Is that not what the history of Nova Scotia is all about?
That's what it's about. If you're, I don't even know how to say this, Sean, like if you're able to hear it and see it and find it and understand it, because going through, I didn't understand any of this. I was like, it was tough for me to be in my own skin. And that's crazy. But yeah, like, buddy, like, I don't know. I only started knowing of like the history of the Black Hockey Leagues in Nova Scotia through my aunt, like I said, my cousin Liz, about 15 years ago. Like I started to understand more as she started to work and do like shows and documentaries and stuff. And that's crazy because I love hockey and it's in my backyard. Yeah. So what the hell? So the answer is question, Sean? No, there was no mention of it in school.
Do you think that there is now? Like that, it's such a big part of history, man.
Yeah.
Like people have no idea like what that was about. Those leagues, how good they were, how important it was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. And I really, I mean, I don't want to talk to what I don't know, but I doubt very much that it's mentioned in the schools. And I think that's why you'll see like Bob Dawson from Ottawa. He's a pioneer too, like with Liz, and they're just constantly trying to bring it back to light, tell the story, right? So we can understand and be proud. Like, you know what I mean? Like, going through hockey at an early age, I had no idea, none. And that's even when I was in pro, like playing pro, I still didn't know.
Yeah, and so what's important once this changes, because obviously we're talking about it. Anyone that doesn't know about it, now they do. Because Nova Scotia is such an important part of history in hockey. It was really kind of like the bridge between amateur and becoming pro, and like with all the AHL teams that were in the Maritimes, that turned into major junior cities. And that's just recent history. The stuff from like 100 years ago is like golden, right? We know that. And I really hope that they are able to, even if there was like an East Coast Canadian like history class that involved sports in it, that would have to be a part of it, man.
Absolutely, right? Yeah, it's a major part of history, man. It just floors me. Like it's like you caught me off.
No, it's all good, man. That's what the real podcasts are all about, right?
Yeah, like I don't know, like you don't even. It's how do you change history, man? That was history.
It's deep.
Like I can't even get my mind around it. Like
If you're a history buff out there, ladies and gentlemen, you got to look up the history of hockey in Nova Scotia. The players that come out of there, the players that could have been at the highest levels, never got the opportunity. Players that were, like I'm hearing stories about like players that were traded because they were caught dating white women,
Oh, yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Weird things like that, right? And you know, the most important thing is to know that those pioneers and trailblazers like Bill Riley, you know, they really set an example and had to go through things that a lot of people didn't have to go through. And one example is what Bill was saying is he had to master the art of pretending that he didn't hear things because the ice was so thin that if he made the wrong move, he could lose his position. And unfortunately, that's the way that he had to do it, right? But that takes courage, it takes wit, it takes determination, and the man has them all through and through, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, buddy. So okay, so like I mean, we had to get into that stuff. It's not the funnest stuff to talk about because there's a little bit of there's a lot of emotion and sadness that's involved with it because of the why we're talking about it the way we are now is because it's not acknowledged and it's not celebrated. It should be a huge celebration what Nova Scotia has done for the league.
Absolutely.
You know, guys like Herb Carnegie should be in the Hall of Fame. You know, there should be things that have happened, right? And it hasn't happened yet. But like I said, awareness comes to action, and it starts with us talking about it on the platforms, right? So the reason why I'm smiling right now is because I really want to get into the Hall Olympique. I find it very intriguing to talk to the players that aren't from Quebec that play in the Q. Now, for the listeners out there that don't know, the Quebec Major Junior League's territory is not only the province of Quebec, but it's also the Maritimes and Newfoundland, right, Craig?
Yes. And that's something recent. Like, I mean, I don't know how many years, maybe 10 years, 15, 20, not 20, but 10 or 15 years. When I was going through, I was playing as an underage. So I was 15 playing AAA. And I was playing from a little small town, Pictou County. Like, so it was down New Glasgow, Pictou County, Weeks Construction.
The subway.
And Like, so I had to choose. I had to choose either between Ontario, so OHL, or the Quebec League. Okay. And I'll never forget it. Like when I first went to the first practice there, the coach said, all right, I traveled 3 hours on the weekends, stayed with different families, played the weekends, and then went home on Sunday. And we went to a tournament, Kiwanis it's called, in Hull, Quebec. And he said, before we left, he said, hey, there's going to be scouts here. He said, I'm just letting you know. And I'm like, scouts, what is that? I didn't know what scouts are all about. But anyways, so we went in, it was in Hull. We went into their dressing room. Pat Burns was a coach at the time when he's still alive.
Pat Burns.
So they asked me to get on the scale. I was about 6'1" then. I was 15. I was 253.
So 253 at 16?
Oh yeah, 15. 15. Yeah. So I mean, I could get around the ice, but I'm slower. But I mean, I could play. And so they weighed me. And then the next thing you know, here I am. I'm being hidden in hotels the day of the draft as an underage. And then they brought me into what was it? Wasn't even the Bell. Was it the Bell Center? No, it wasn't Bell, but it was where the Habs played. So they brought me in there on the day of the draft. It was crazy.
Wow.
It's crazy. So, but yeah, so Hull was interesting, very interesting. Wayne Gretzky owned the team. Okay. So I had to make a choice, and I'm going to say names, but I mean, there's a gentleman, a coach in Hamilton for the Steelhawks. Mm-hmm. All right. And his name's Bill. I won't say last names. And I just heard stories that, maybe he's a little different, but he loved his tough guys. Mm-hmm. And me being a 15-year-old from Nova Scotia, my mom raising me, she didn't know anything about hockey. I had to choose Wayne Gretzky, Bill. Forwards, right? So I went with Gretzky, and that's how I ended up in Quebec. So to answer your question, I had to choose back then. Okay. But now it's all like they incorporated, like the Maritimes is now property of like the Quebec League. Yes.
Wow. So how involved was the Great One with the team? Like, did you just see him once in a while, or was he there like every weekend?
No. So that was right around the time when he was in LA.
Oh, yeah, he was still playing.
Yeah. So there was it 2 years in a row they held camps there? I know 1 year for sure they held their training camp there, and that was pretty
in LA.
No, in Hull. We didn't go to LA. They came to Hull.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So they held their training camp in Hull. So that was awesome because I mean, we got to see like it was McSorley was still playing, all those guys. So and I remember we went out one night, went to the Peelers one night. Sorry, I don't know if I can say that.
No, that's fine.
But Gretzky took us out the one night, right? So it was pretty cool. And he's a pretty quiet guy, and but he was a solid cat. He's pretty cool. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
He was like, I mean, probably most Canadians can say this, but he was my favorite player growing up. I had I mean, I was a big Leaf fan, right? So when, in the early 90s with Doug Gilmour, Wendell Clark, like that was like kind of my heyday of when I first started really paying attention and stuff, right? But yeah, Gretzky, I remember he had an autobiography book. It was Wayne Gretzky autobiography, had the Kings uniform on, and he had like his arms up. And I remember getting that book when I was a kid for Christmas, and just always seeing that book and just him winning the scoring titles every year. Like he was just the guy that I had probably followed the most, but I'm sure that was for most Canadians, right?
Yeah.
But that's really cool, man. Were you starstruck when you met him?
Well, yeah, it's Gretzky. You are, and it's interesting that you say it because whenever I go back to Nova Scotia and visit my mother, she still has a picture of me as a 16-year-old standing with Gretzky.
Like arm around him, like that's awesome, buddy.
Yeah.
So he's a super nice guy.
Yeah. He's he just, hey kid, how you doing? And then I was fortunate enough again to run into him years later when I was actually in '94 and I was with Winnipeg because it was the year before the Jets left. He was in LA. It was our last regular season game. We didn't make the playoffs. So I just went and warm up was going on, and I made a point to straddle the red line, say, "Hey, Gretz, how you doing, buddy?" And then he goes, "Hey, kid," like that. And I said, "Listen, I know this is the last game. Can I get your stick?" Like that. So that was pretty cool. He remembered I did it again. He came over, found me, gave me a stick. So that was pretty sharp.
You? Wow. And where is it?
Well, I had water damage in my cottage years ago. So
how long did it last, though? Because that's the most important.
That stick lasted.
Good run.
Oh, I had a great run.
Yeah.
Back to the old aluminum Easton stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh man, that was so cool, man. My team, my Don Mills Flyers team, we were a team that had our coach had a big business, really wealthy guy. You know what I mean? Not that that's what it's all about, but if it happens, you're lucky. It's a perk. Yeah. Always nice leather jackets. When those Easton sticks came out, the silver ones, we all got one around Christmas time. Our parents didn't have to pay. Yeah, man. We came to our practice one day in Don Mills Arena or whatever. The one that's on Don Mills, like Don Mills in Lawrence.
Oh, yeah.
The Don Mills Civitan Arena or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. We go into our dressing room, our new jackets with plastic around them with a silver Easton stick. 50.
Yeah.
Like, it was sick, man. It was awesome. Did you ever use the Easton?
Oh, yeah. I remember back in the day too, going through pro, and I always argue with my trainers, trying to get my patterns.
Oh, yeah.
Give me another stick, man.
Yeah.
I need another stick. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. You were a right shot though, right?
Yeah.
I always tell the lefties, if you don't shoot right, you shoot wrong. You know what I mean?
I like that.
So yeah, dude. So I mean, my first question about the situation in Hull, Gatineau, they're right beside each other, is I mean, I'm gonna guess that you're not bilingual. Are you bilingual?
Je parle français. No, I'm not.
Un petit peu.
Un petit peu.
There you go.
I mean, I know a lot of words now.
Yeah.
And as you know, we learn the wrong words in the dressing room that we shouldn't be using.
Of course.
But no, I'm not bilingual. So yeah.
It was definitely a challenge. That must have been a challenge though, because I mean, we both played. I mean, our teams were close to Montreal where you didn't really have to speak French, but it would still be a challenge if you went into a hardware store. There could be no one in the store that speaks English, even though you're in Montreal. And sometimes those situations would arise. So, as a teenager, like what was the school situation like?
Actually, being in Hull, my the school situation right off the get-go, right? They asked me Protestant, Catholic, because there's two schools, two English schools only. Which one are you going to? I'm like, I don't know. Protestant, I guess.
Yeah.
So I was lucky in Hull. No, I don't say lucky. It was easy in Hull because Alain Vigneault was our coach, right? And that was his first year coaching. It was his first year coaching, and being like a francophone, his commitment to his French players. You guys are, if you're ever going to play pro, you got to learn English. So everything was English in the dressing room, right from day one. I mean, he would talk French when he really had to the certain guys, but everything across the board was English. So that was an easy transition. And we probably had like all through my years, like 1, 2, Cam Russell was my 20-year-old when I started. So there's 1, 2, probably about 6 or 7 of his English guys right off the get-go, because Hull drafted a lot of English guys. They Charlie Henry would go to the Maritimes. He would do the work. He would, you know what I mean? Okay. So he had a lot of Maritimers, man, like a lot. And so I mean, it wasn't until I played my 3 years in Hull, and on the 4th year, and you can talk to this because when you were in St. Hyacinthe, that's the first year where I really said, whoa, I'm in Quebec. Yes, there's a different language. You walk, like you said, you walk into a store, you can't even order water or whatever. Like, it's like, yeah. So it was tough. It was fun because I was a guy that didn't mind to try. Yep. I didn't mind to try to speak French. Yep. Sometimes people didn't like me trying. Yeah. Because I was butchering the language. So they just say,
yeah. But now let me add to that a little bit. We also have to agree that our friends from the province of Quebec, in general, appreciate it when we try. What they don't like is if we were to go into that store and just start speaking English. Oh, well, I need this, I need that. They'd be like, whoa. Yeah. This is province of Quebec, Francais. You know what I mean? Like they get offended by that, which is fair enough. We're in their turf. We shouldn't just be going in there being all arrogant and starting speaking English when we know that we're in, Saint Hyacinthe, right? Yeah. So it's not really black and white. There's a lot of gray areas, but like for me, I mean, I'm sure you're the same. My experience was, as long as they saw I was trying, as long as I could get my little words in, as long as I could recognize enough to know what they're talking about, at least just to know what's going on, that was good enough.
Yeah.
Craig, how many times did you shake your head yes when you had no idea what was going on? How many times did you do that?
Sean, I used to say, I'm just listening for my name. But all the time you're just like, yeah. And there's that one word that you do, like, you do realize what it is, and you try to piece the whole thing together, right?
Because at least you know what they're talking about. Oh, yeah. School. They said, I heard école. You know what I mean? At least, at least if you know the topic, you have a chance to guess what they're asking you.
Yeah. Hey, good question for you. Was Stan Melanson still playing for them when you went there?
Stanny was there.
Okay.
He's a solid defenseman.
Yeah.
It seemed like he was one of those guys where, like, for me, I was 25 years old, went to that league, and he was like a dad, like a player coach. You just trustworthy. The teammate of yours?
Yeah, well, yeah. So I know the whole family. Like his older brother Robert is a buddy of mine that we played together in Hull. Yeah. And then he had Stan and Dean, the other two brothers. Okay. So I played with both of them in St. Hyacinthe. I got traded. So I could play with both of them. And it was, and they could both speak French like fluently. So they would just shake their head at me because we go to school. There was me, an American, those two, and there's another English guy. There's 5 of us. So we call ourselves what do you call Welcome Back Cotter? The sweat hog, whatever you call them, the group of class, whatever. I can't remember the name of it.
Come to us.
But so we would go to school every day. All right. It was just the 5 of us. We'd only have to learn. I don't even know what we did. We tried to learn French, and there's one other language, and what a mess. The sweat hogs with the sweat hogs.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, that's when I remember Stan used to get frustrated with us, right? Because I was kind of a loose cannon, but a kid, great guy.
Yeah, that arena is pretty classic. It can hold a lot more than you think at first sight. And man, they got some crazy horns and stuff going on in that rink too.
They would have loved you. They would have loved you. I guarantee that.
It was awesome, man. Yeah, dude. So that's cool. Now, one thing I really wanted to point out was, I mean, okay, so we got to talk about your billet situation because, dude, I'm a stat guy. I am seeing like how well you did, how you embrace the system. When players get to that type of level, I mean, most of the listeners know, but for the ones that don't, Major Junior is basically playing pro, but adding school and adding having no money. It's really crazy. Craig, if you think about it, think about what we did. We were 16, 17, 18, 19 years old, had to worry about school, had to worry about girls. Then we had to worry about the hockey. And it's the best players in our age group, pretty much in the world. Yeah. And you know what I mean? And man, that's a lot for a 17-year-old to handle, man.
It is. Hey, how much money were they paying you guys in Ontario? Like when I was playing in Quebec, how much?
$50 a week.
Yeah, okay. All right. I made those first few years, I think I was at 23 or 30. And I think when my 18, 19-year-old year, I think I got to 52.
23, 30 what? What are you talking about?
Like, hey, when I first got there, my first year in Hull,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure my pay every week was around $25, $30.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And
so, the funny thing is that, you know, I was drafted by Sarnia Sting, Mark Hunter, before him and Dale bought the London Knights. Wow. And so in Sarnia, they even manipulated the situation even more because they were taxing us on that $50. So we were really getting like 44, 50 or something.
Wow.
And then we get paid every 2 weeks. And we didn't even crack $100, man.
That's nice.
$90 every 2 weeks.
That's crazy. It is. For what we're bringing to the table, like the commitment, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like the sacrifice.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, yes, we have billets. Yes, we have food on the table. Okay, but you still inflation.
How were teenagers? How were your billets?
The first year, it was funny. The first year I got there, I was supposed to be billeted with a certain family, but they couldn't speak English. So me and Mark Tangilina got switched.
Mark Tangilina?
So I ended up, So I went with another billet that could speak English. Yeah. And it was the best move because the mom didn't put up with no crap. She didn't care if I was 6'2", 6'3". You know, you're going to help with the dishes. You know, you're going to clean your room. You know what I mean? So it was just like mom away from home. So it was the perfect thing for me. I was fortunate to always have like solid, caring billets. That's one thing I can say about my junior run, like where the team did their friggin' homework and like, you know what I mean? Then again, there was a couple billets at the end where that, you know, like that were great people, but they shouldn't have had people because they just had fun too much.
Yeah.
But
Wow, man. So it was, I remember like, but it really wasn't like they didn't get a lot of money either, the billets. Like, exactly. And the reason why I know is because I finished up with the London Knights, my 19-year-old season. Mark and Dale Hunter actually let me live with my girlfriend because I was a 19-year-old. You know, they just loved the fact that I finally got this reputation of that they had the toughest guy. And they're like, you know, Sean, you and Kelly are getting along really well. We see you guys. Do you want to live with her this season? Would that make you feel more comfortable? Right? I'm like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, she went to Western, man. She had her great apartment, balcony. Man, it was, I was like, yeah. But I think she got it was like $75 a week or something.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, like $150 every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So like just pretty much grocery money. Now, mind you, this is 25. Well, this would have been 25 years ago, right? So,
Yeah.
you know, but still, we're talking little amounts. And I know I've been going on, but the point of this was the pressures that those kids have to go under. If
Yeah.
there's anything wrong in their situation, like a billet, that could be enough to have a guy that could make it not be able to go through.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. I've seen some situations where it didn't gel. What you're just saying is 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Players wanted to get traded. Like some people got cut. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like a toxic situation, right?
Oh yeah. No, that wasn't the case for you, right? You always did you just have the one set of billets or?
No, I got to tell you this now.
So don't be shy.
No, I'm just remembering now. So when I was in Hull, I had the same billets for the first 2 years. And then as I got old enough that I might be dating a daughter, they thought it might be a good move that I go to another.
Fair enough. Understandable.
But I still stayed in contact with them and all that stuff. And I was dating the daughter. And I got fortunate. I ran into another billet that was younger family, but they're great. He was a big fan. They're great. Once again, he was a guy that if I got frustrated with anything, he would just be able to get me to relax and talk to me. But then when I got traded to St. Hyacinth with my 19-year-old year, I just remembered this. The family was amazing. Like, they are nice people. They really, really are. Like 100% francophones, 100%. And we lived way out in the country. And I was with a guy, Craig Willard. He's American. And me and him got traded together. And we ate the same meal, steak haché. We ate the same meal, I swear to God, for 3 months.
Like the same dinner
I
every
forgot
night?
all about that. Pardon?
The same dinner every night?
Same dinner. Oh, this is the same dinner. They're a nice family, don't get me wrong, but we just ate the same dinner.
But was the reason for that like, were they told that hockey players need a plate of pasta every day to, like, was it like that situation, or was it like an OCD?
I just think they're trying to make the ends meet, because you had two growing boys that, like, you know what, like you said, it's grocery money, if that. And they just, I think they might have been in it for the money. Yeah. But and then when they realized maybe what they're into, then they just tried to make it
work.
Yeah, like it was. We ate a lot of stuff on, like, at other billets houses, but yeah, that was. I just remember that. Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would say, I would use the term very strong start in major junior for you, right? And you get 2 years in consistent, and because of that consistency, that earns you to get drafted to the NHL, right? So. Yeah. This is a really, really cool time, obviously, for a young Canadian kid, to get drafted to the NHL, which is most Canadian kids' dreams. Like, I'm not going to say all, because the country's different now, right? But most are probably hockey fans. The Raptors have their movement right now, but I still think overall hockey has basketball in Canada beat. Like, we're not the States, right? And yeah, man. So, like, I believe that an NHL drafted player is a family accomplishment. And the reason why I say that is because an 18-year-old is 18 years old, is a kid. So to that point, the family's been through everything through and through with that kid. The family's had to sacrifice. The kid wasn't paying his own way when he was 10 years old, right?
Exactly.
So the family was a part of it this whole time. Now, getting drafted to the NHL, obviously there's the percentages and all that kind of stuff, Craig, which we know how small of a number we're in just to have gotten drafted. Okay. Yeah. Now, once that happens, I believe that it's an acknowledgement of the commitment of the family that player is in. It's an acknowledgement that, hey, we acknowledge what you've done. Your kid is good. He can be part of the club. It's now up to him to see how hard he's going to work, if he's actually going to get games, and continue on from here. Mm-hmm. But congratulations, family. The whole family should walk down and get jerseys. Yeah. Oh, and this is the Martin family coming up here. Yeah. Craig and his dad and his mom. You know what I mean? Like this is, like, I just believe it should be a celebration. Now, my question is to you. Where was your draft? Did you go?
Post draft, as an underage, you got to go in the first 3 rounds.
Yes.
That draft was in Minnesota. I did go. The agent I had at the time took me. I didn't get drafted in the first 3 rounds. So that was tough because you sat there.
Yeah.
Everybody else getting drafted, So the next year when I could go in any round because I had enough junior experience, I didn't go to that one. 1998,
right?
That would have been in Vancouver, I believe. I think it was in Vancouver, and I got drafted. And I'll tell you now, I was at a beer gardens in Nova Scotia, and we were heading out to a big beer. We were heading out to just a big what do you call it, like a shore party, out at the shore. And I just told my mom when I headed out, I said, "Listen, you might get a phone call. If you do, just take a number." Because my mom supported me with everything, right? Like you said, it's a family thing, man. I would be nowhere without my mother, right?
Yeah.
But she had no idea about hockey. I didn't do it on my own, but if I didn't have my own drive, what I mean, then, she supported, right? And so I remember I was working at it because the fundraisers for the junior team that Billy was coaching, actually, the Ramblers. And so I had to go home to get my shorts to head out to the beach. And I came in, and my mom goes, "There's a phone call for you. A gentleman by the name of Mike Smith." And I just went oh yeah, okay. And I didn't realize, I wasn't happy. I think I was happy. I was stunned. I knew I was drafted. I knew who Mike Smith was. He was the general manager for Winnipeg Jets. And I don't want to say I was arrogant, but I was just like, "Frig, I don't want to play Winnipeg."
Yeah.
And that was just that's a naive kid, right? Because growing up, you want to play in the big major centers and, maybe the States, And but it was, I went and told my boys, all McFarland was there. I told them all. So we had a good time, right? So I got the chance to say, "Mom, I just got drafted." And she was so proud and happy. And then I got a chance to share it with my closest buddies. So it was a pretty cool thing. Yeah.
It was a pretty good night that night, or what?
Yeah, it was a good night.
Awesome. So, what about your first camp, man? What about your first camp? Because there was some pretty big names that played on the team at that time, right?
Yeah.
And it must have been pretty cool. The impressive thing was how quickly you got up. You know what I mean? So yeah. But I wanted to get your take on the whole draft family accomplishment thing. I'm glad that you're on par with that, because I just believe that is, and I like to mention it time now and again, because it really needs to be recognized how much the families really are included in the process, right? And it's just it's like people are stunned when they hear the stories of dads having to find jobs in other cities just so they could move, so they could be within the territory, so that the son has an opportunity to play on this team. People be like, "What?" When I played, I remember there was these 2 kids, Bernie Scanlon, can't remember the other kid's name, and Mike Pye. And they both were from some town that was near Woodstock or something. And then both their families moved to the GTA so they could play with me on the Don Mills Flyers. Right. Wow. And that was mind blowing as a 12-year-old to know. I'm like, what? So I'm thinking, what are we we must be professional. People are doing something like that, play on this team. We're the professional Don Mills team. You know what I mean? I couldn't believe it when I was a kid. So yeah, that's a really big deal. Now, I mean, well, okay, we'll get into the exciting coaching stuff after. I was going to jump into it now, but there's no point in doing that, because we have some exciting stuff to talk about. For example, I want to get into your first year pro, but before we get into that, what was these? I'm looking at these playoff game amounts for the Hull Olympic, especially that first year. Can you talk about those playoff runs with Hull?
That was a pretty good. That was an awesome run, Sean. As an even when I had no idea. Like I said, when I played my minor midget year, right? When my coach pulled me aside and said, "You're going to have scouts. look at you. I had no idea. I just played hockey and I kept moving forward because I love playing hockey.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until then I started to understand, oh, there's a junior league. Oh, there's an Ontario one. Oh, there's a Quebec one. Oh, there's one in West. And like, it wasn't like, so I got drafted and I went to camp my first year. And I didn't even know what they were expecting from me. I should have pieced it all together once they put me on a scale and then they drafted me. I went from 253. I showed up at camp at 230. And then Vigneault, I'd say third of the way through the season, I was at 220. And he wanted me at 210, which I never got to. And then so we 0-9, Sean. That team I was on, that I'm saying this because I just give me some background. So we were 0-9. And I remember, start the year off, we were 0-9. And I remember Vigneault just lost it. We had a bus ride home. We got in the dressing room. He made us, as he talked to us, he made us take our gear off and put it on repeatedly. And I mean, we must have did it at least
nonstop.
Like nonstop. But as he was talking, we just had to keep taking it off, putting it back on. And this is at 2-3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, after the road trip.
And then when you get delirious, you're just tired and you're in school or wherever, and you just start a laughing frenzy and you just can't help it.
Yeah.
Well, Cam Russell was right across from me. And I had long hair at the time. So I had an afro, right? I had long hair. And I'm watching everybody's hair. I'm watching everybody's face. So taking their helmets off, putting their helmets on, taking it off, put it on. And everybody's hair is getting more messed up and more messed up. And then all of a sudden, me and him just looked at each other, and he must have been laughing at me, and I was laughing at him. And we couldn't stop. So now you got a coach that's trying to make a point, and you got two freaking players that just will not stop laughing. And now everybody's laughing. And holy frig, I thought he was going to come unglued. But so he goes, practice tomorrow. Just be ready to skate.
Yeah.
So we go to school, we come to practice. Everybody's like, oh, geez, man. So he just said, no gear, nothing. He goes down. In our arena, we had like a bar restaurant area. So we sat down there, and we ended up having everybody had a couple pops. And we all had some pizza, and we just sat back, had a good time. And he said, and now everybody was all happy, like, all right, yeah, we're going to go out. We're going to go. Like, he goes, curfew. But we went on a 10-0 run. And then we went on to play in the Memorial Cup that year. So you have a great coach, great motivator. I didn't know I'd see eye to eye with him because I didn't understand what he was trying to get from me. He was just trying to get everything out of me. And, but yeah, because I was soft at that time, right? I didn't know like how tough I was, or I didn't know to be tough.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, so he slowly got it out a little bit in that, but you know what? I realized it, but yeah, it was a good little run. Good experience. Yeah.
For sure. So Alain Vigneault, he's 100% Francophone.
Yeah.
But he must have learned English because
bilingual, 100%.
Oh, he is bilingual. Okay. So
like wherever, because he played pro. He would have played pro, and I believe he's around 27 when he came in and started coaching us. And I know he was in St. Louis's farm system.
Yeah.
And so I don't know all the English he would have had prior to that, but he was totally bilingual. And then as the years went on, he just got better and better. So yeah, he was fine.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
And then so the first year you guys went to the Mem Cup.
Yeah.
Right. So you guys won the league.
We won the league. It was you know what? We were two rounds in a row. We were down 0-3.
No way.
And we came back 2 rounds in a row to win 4-3.
Wow.
Yeah. And Laval, we played Laval at the end in the finals, and they had like LaPointe, Ojic, McCarty, like what's the other guy? Odette. Yeah. Like, they had a lot of good players too. Yeah.
And that was the reason. And this is interesting because this is like a crossover here. So you are one of the most famous Laval Chiefs of all time, right? No, you are though. Mm-hmm. You are. No, I'm telling you, I'm a hockey guy, right? I'm telling you. So you are. Now, I want to get your take on this. I was told the Colisée de Laval, the House of Pain, is not because of the Laval Chiefs. It's because of the Laval junior team. that all these guys played for that you just mentioned. Is that true?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so that is true.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of people wouldn't think that though. They think
Yeah,
it's the Laval Chiefs. That's the House of Pain in the Coliseum de Laval. And
Yeah.
credit to the Laval Chiefs. They made it the House of Pain. But I'm talking about, I'm not saying they did it. I'm saying it started with the junior team in Laval. That's what the House of Pain originally was.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
The Laval Chiefs to tell me that.
Oh yeah, they had like they were always solid. Like Ojic was tough, McCarty was tough. They had Couturier, like he's not a big fighter, but he's a tough. It was always tough to play them, and their fans were off the charts. Yeah. It's like Hall's fans too, like the Olympic fans, off the charts, right? Like when you're, oh man, when you're in the playoffs and they're hanging off the rafters because you cannot get any more seats, it's a bunkhouse and it's nuts. And it's well, put it this way: when we finally did beat Laval that year, they were trying to throw frozen oranges at us.
No way, man, that would hurt.
Oranges. Yeah.
Right? Holy.
They're passionate.
Yeah, man, they're very passionate. So obviously you finished off with Saint-Hyacinthe, which we mentioned a few times, but the pretty much the 4 years in Hall, that's a big experience, man. That's like a university college time.
Yeah.
It's part of your life, right? And it sounds like it went pretty well. And that's a beautiful thing because like the journey is really what it's all about. And when I saw how well you did in junior, man, I'm like, man, I can't wait to talk to this guy about it. So this is your first year pro. What was the situation with the split between like what it was mostly Moncton, but with Fort Wayne? Like did they send you down or did things change?
Yeah.
Like what was the scenario there?
It was interesting because I would have went to Moncton at the end of my junior career. Like, I mean, when we got beat out in Saint-Hyacinthe, I went to Moncton for the playoffs. I never played a game, but I went there. So I got a little bit of experience with those guys. Yeah. So the next year, when I was in Winnipeg, when I got sent down to Moncton, we had a lot of guys. Okay. Like, and then Fort Wayne was viewed as less than, even though the IHL was just as good. It was just an older league.
That's right.
A lot more veterans.
That's right.
So Fort Wayne was like, I don't even know the term they use anymore, but they had Detroit Red Wings and Winnipeg.
So
prospects.
So they were a dual affiliate.
There you go.
There was the 1 year when I was in Rochester, we were a dual affiliate for Buffalo and Florida. And then they returned to just being Buffalo. So the Hamilton Bulldogs, they were a dual affiliate the entire time I was in Rochester. And that team was like an all-star team because they had the best prospects from 2 NHL teams, made it twice as hard to even play in the American Hockey League, right? So it's a scenario then. You guys were a dual affiliate, you're 20 years old, you're playing for Fort Wayne. That's how it's going.
It was awesome. Yeah, exactly. It was awesome. I was, like I said, I wasn't old enough to get into the bars at the time because I'm 20 years old. Yeah, it's 21. And I still remember once I showed up there, it was like we practiced, and then the coaches all brought us in a room and we're just talking. And then all of a sudden they said, "Okay, where are you living?" And then basically they just matched me with another guy. So, all right, one of you guys just live together. I said, okay. Guy I never even laid eyes on before.
Oh, yeah?
But it worked out well. So
how did he turn out? Who was it?
It was all right. His name was Grant Richardson. Great guy. Like a hard worker, you know what I mean? Like straight arrow guy. So it was really good for me because like going through Sean going through it all, like I didn't have the guidance. If that's something I can look back on, and I think that the NHL is getting right now where when they bring a player in, they vet them. And now they are going to set you up for success. If they're even going to pick you up, they're going to set you up now. They're keeping their hands on you off season. You know what I mean? And when I was going through it, you just kind of try to navigate your way, man, the best you could, because I didn't have the people to talk to. Like Riles, I talked to him in the off season, but he's not on the phone or, you know what I mean? So
well, there was no phones either, right? There was no smartphones, no social media. There was nothing. Kind of like, there was magazines, there was newspapers, but it was a much different time.
Very much.
And like the thing about this time, Craig, is the fact that, okay, so whatever, 2020, 2022, this day and age, you go to the average AHL team. If there was a reality show that was going to follow the players around, what these guys are doing is they're going out for lunch, then they're going home and playing James Bond or whatever it is they play, man. And they're playing with a friggin' thing, and they're playing against a guy that's in Ukraine or something. And you know what I mean? Like, what's going on here, man? Like
I don't know.
We didn't do that stuff back then, man.
No.
We were doing other things, right?
Yeah.
And so it's very different in this time of age. Man, but the phones and the social media are probably the biggest impact for all that kind of stuff. And to get back to your point about the guidance, I mean, could you imagine, like Bill Riley has ideas that any player, like you, just think about it. St. Hyacinth, Moncton, Hull, Adirondack, Winnipeg, Springfield, Florida, San Antonio, Carolina, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All these teams, as you being alumni, Bill Riley says you should be able to have a season ticket in every single one of those arenas. You should have access to be able to go as a former player and to be a guy that can counsel any player that's younger than you, older than you, whatever. Anyone that needs to speak to you, you should have access and be able to drive to Adirondack, to go to this place. Oh, Mr. Martin, how are you? Yeah. It's not the same seat today, but it's going to be this one. But you know, you're always welcome here. You're alumnus. We need the players to see you in the arena. We need the fans and the young players that are fans of this team to see you in the stands. And you know what I mean? And he's right.
Yeah, he is. You hit it right there. He's right, 100%.
But like, so the thing is like this is like, I mean, you got to think of the career that you had, man. You played in so many places, and I mean, for me, for example, like if I had access to talk to you, bro, I probably would have, especially after I talked or after I saw the movie like Chiefs, right? And like I was so inspired by that movie, man. It was because like I made a life decision to come, and then there's a movie, and I'm making all this money, and it's Montreal, the Ile de Montreal. Like, man, it was. Don't worry, we're almost there. It's coming. It's coming on the timeline.
Oh man.
Okay, dude. I gotta talk about the year in Adirondack. The Adirondack Red Wings. One of our posters, bro. You're squaring off with the Red Wing jersey. It's sick. First of all, Adirondack has a big history in hockey, man. I've never been there. Their AHL team came after I was done with the AHL. I never got a chance to see Adirondack. I know they've been in so many leagues. What's up with that city, man? What is that? Is it a mountain city? What is it?
Yeah, that's it. It's Glen Lake. So there's a mountain range. You have Saratoga Springs where all the horse races are. It's wilderness, right? Outdoors. But it's beautiful, like nice properties around the lake, but you know, blue collar, people are pretty laid back. Country. They had solid like culture, you know, hit like teams with like some jam. And then it just the year I was there, it was the same. But I think that it was slowly starting to just dwindle down. Like the attendance started to dwindle. But I mean, like as far as like just a location that you could actually gel as a team, because I find the smaller communities are where you really see what you're made about. You know what I mean? Because you're hanging out with each other, right? Yeah. And so it was awesome for me. Anyway, I really enjoyed my time. That was definitely the best year, I'd say, like point wise, just social wise, just in a good headspace wise. And you know what? I owe it to my teammates, but I also owe it to the coach there. His name was Newell Brown. He was NCAA, like he's a college coach. And for the first time, he didn't put limits. You know, whatever you showed, the proof is in the pudding, man. Like whatever you showed, he put you in positions to succeed. And I was playing power play. I was Kenley Pillen. I was fighting every night. But you know what? That's fun when you get to play.
Well, dude, I mean, you better have been playing power play. I mean, buddy, like like I got okay. So we're going to do the stat line because we have to. This is incredible. So, ladies and gentlemen, this gentleman had played 76 games, which I'm assuming was an 80-game season, which is incredible for the type of player that Craig was. Okay, almost 40 points, ladies and gentlemen. The man had 39 points as a legit top heavyweight in the league. Man, that's like a hybrid tough guy getting 40 points, man. He really got a lot out of you that year. So I have to get my hat off to that coach. I mean, not taking anything away from you, buddy, but it is very, very difficult for a guy that has to play the role that you played to put up numbers like that, unless you're Bob Probert.
Yes, exactly.
That's what made Bob Probert an all-star, is putting numbers like this. He got 20 goals. This is 15 right here, my friend. Right? So, yeah, I had to ask about Adirondack. So the main thing is the coach, you'd say?
I mean, and players. Like, we had a great team, man. Like, I mean, I was playing third line. We were designated third line, but I was still playing with Mike Castleman and Brett Harkins. And these guys were both college boys. And I mean, one guy was like, could skate like the wind, good hands, not selfish. Like, and then Harkins is just like freaking like silk hands. And just, I could pass the puck. I didn't mind to mix it up. And it just was a good combination. We all just complimented each other. Yeah. And it was good. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Well, no, that's a lot of momentum. It's a lot of momentum. Big time confidence booster. I mean, dude, the lockout year, I had 3 goals, 3 assists, 6 points. You know how arrogant I was that I had some numbers because I had the 300 minutes? So I was in that, because you know how they always do the top 5?
Yeah.
Like fighting majors, penalty minutes.
Yeah.
All I was concerned about was that list, bro. I didn't care about anything else. As long as I was on that list, I was happy with me, because those stat packs said a lot.
Yeah.
And it was
100%.
Right on the top of the stat pack. I'm sure you saw Craig Martin. People are like, I'm always seeing Craig Martin, this damn stat sheet.
Yeah, you want to see your name, right? And I checked out your stats too, man. So you're there, right? You're there. You know what? You went through the trenches. You're there. So you showed up every night. So it's not easy, when your hands are all busted up and you're still going to war. You know that. So
yeah. So like, dude, I mean, but so what I was getting at is that I believe that having a season like that, 300 penalty minutes, 40 points, at pretty much the second best league in the world. Now you're going into camp, and man, you must have been on like Winnipeg had no choice but to give you games that year, right? Okay. Like the next year, right?
Yeah.
And so that was the first crack at the NHL for you. What was that like? Okay, so I guess like as a former player, I mean, any reporter would be like, well, what was it like to play in the NHL? But what I want to ask you is like, what was the situation in training camp? Like, how many guys were there in camp that did the role? Like, what was the outline? Like, what were you and your agent saying? Like, okay, there's 3 of you guys there. You got to outplay this guy. Like, do you remember what those scenarios were?
Yeah, like my agent was pretty like hands off, like for the most part. Like, you know what I mean?
You didn't talk
I
to
really
him
needed to. I didn't talk to him that much, no. But that situation, Sean, after that year, okay, I was living with Chris Draper at the time. And then he got called up at the end of that year. He got called up and never came back, right? So at the end of that year, I ended up playing roller hockey with Buffalo Stampede.
Yes, I saw that.
And but you know what? But I was in great shape. So when I went into Detroit's camp, I went to Detroit's camp the next year, and that was in '94. And I had the best camp of my life, man. Like, I was flying, I was scoring, I was playing with Fedorov, guys like that. So I was there, 28-man roster. And then all of a sudden, lockout.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't even know what was going on. Like, I remember they said, you're getting locked out as well. And I never played a game in NHL before. I said, okay, I guess I made the team. So all right. And so I agree with everybody and everything. Like, yeah, let's go. And so then when we finally came back, and this is a tough one. Like, it's just part of the game. So I came back. We were doing our 2-a-days because it was in January. Like, right, we played a half a season. And I remember we were about 3 days in, And then we had a red-white game. So we practiced in the morning. We had a red-white game at night. So I practiced. I came to the rink that night. I'm walking around and look for my jersey. No jersey. So I walk around the room again. No jersey. So he said, all right, somebody playing a trick on me here. So I ended up going to the trainer and saying, listen, man, I can't find my jersey. So he says, what? So he comes back. He says, you got to go see Scotty because Bowman was coaching, right? And so I walk in the office.
Scotty Bowman?
Yeah. So I walked in the office, and it's just like the movies. Scotty was on the couch, Kenny Holland, Barry Smith, and Dave Lewis. So, and then just said, this toughest call. Kenny just goes, Craig, this is a tough one, but I'll never forget it. And basically what happened was with that whole lockout, what came about, we lost 2 roster spots as players. It went from a 28-man roster to 26. And I was definitely the 27th and 8th best on that team, right? I mean, you got Fedorov, Yzerman, Lidstrom, you know what I mean? And so that was a tough one for me because I earned it. I thought I was there. I sat out half a year. But then I ended up getting picked up by Winnipeg that drafted me originally.
Exactly.
And and I played half a year there. So that was all right. But that was a tough one though, Sean. That was a tough one. It was a tough one. It was tough. Yeah. It's just the game. It's the game, man.
Yeah, but there's times in our career where there's years where we go into camps and we have really high expectations, and then we get sent down and we're upset, but really we knew that we really didn't prepare good enough. But then there's other years where we hit it, man. Maybe it was a year where you went into a little bit of debt and hired a trainer or someone to help you, or just went to every skate or like whatever it was, but you nailed it, did it. So that was you that year.
That was it. I hit it that year. I did. And then it was then later on in 97 with Florida, I had another amazing camp where your Scrudelins, your Shepherds, your Mellenbees are coming and say, hey kid, you made the team, you're starting the year here. And then there was that one day before the season started, I was sitting in Boca in the hotel room, and I got that phone call. And that's after the year that they made that big run with the Rats. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
With all the Rats when I started. So, yeah. So they just said, they just wanted to start the year off with that same team, right? They want to see if they could and I can appreciate that. But at the time, so it was a tough one. Tough one.
Tough to swallow. But that's where so people don't really realize that how much it affects the athlete's mental. You got to be very mentally strong. You really have to have thick skin. Yeah. It's hard to go into a room with 3, 4, 5 executives that maybe you've been watching them play your whole life, and there's all this stuff, and they're just telling you, it's not happening. Like, it's heartbreaking for people.
Yeah.
You got to be know that it's part of the journey. It's just not your time right now. Maybe it will be next week, just not right now. You're not going to start the year, and it hits players hard, man. Some players, it really, really hits hard, man, especially if you're caught in a situation where maybe you're on a one-way and then you still get sent down, and then it's like, okay, I'm probably getting shipped out here because I'm not in their plans right now. I'm on a one-way and I'm playing in the AHL, right? So there's a lot of situations like that for sure. And go ahead, Craig, please.
Yeah, so I'm just so back to when we're talking about having more ex players around, or somebody that people can talk to.
Yep.
Because in my talks with anyone, or if I'm talking to someone, if they hit a bump in the road, or any obstacles, you know what, man, you got you can go this way and keep going, or you can just pack it in, right? And that, I know that, and and I tell anybody, you just got to keep going, you got to keep grinding, and you look at the Malone case right now in NHL, and guys like that just keep grinding. So there's no hurt feelings or poopy pants here. It's just that you just got to keep grinding, man. You got to keep grinding. Yeah,
100%, and I appreciate you talking about that for sure. So with Florida though, what was I know that you fought Razor. I'm a Buffalo guy, right?
Oh, yeah.
Rob Ray has been a guest on this show. I thought that was so cool that you fought Rob Ray in that game of Florida, dude. It's so cool that you got to fight because a lot of guys like myself, may get a game, which I got a sniff, tried to fight, only got about 2 or 3 minutes of ice time, about 3 or 4 shifts.
Yeah.
I think maybe one in the third, but didn't get the strap. And then all my boys were like, yo, man, you should have done this, that. You should have just jumped in the Leaf bench. And it'd be like, dude, well, what if I did something stupid and it was like the end of my shift and I got one punched? Then we'd be talking about that for the rest of our lives. So you know what I mean? So I kept it kosher, kept it professional, just didn't get the fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was that was the first. That was the only time. I'll tell you straight up. Even when I played in Winnipeg, same thing. I get a shift here, shift there, shift here, shift there. But that game that they did call me up for in Buffalo, I played a regular shift from the square. Yeah, right. And you know what? We had a rookie party the night before down in Carolina.
Night before,
and so we were, we had a few sips of sake.
2 nights before.
Two nights before.
Yeah.
So we had a little bit of sake. We had a little bit of sake and stuff.
Yeah.
So when I got there, I'm nervous, but anyways, I got a regular shift. I just played hard, ran around, and
third line, Craig?
I don't even know what line I was on. I was just pulling regular shift. Yeah, definitely third line.
Yeah.
And third or fourth, but it was a regular shift, man.
Yep.
And I was just hitting. Hasek was in net, so I got a couple shots on him, and then I remember this is all. I wasn't cocky or nothing, but I was in the game. Like I still remember because so I'm running everybody now. I was here from the bench. Who the F do you think you are? Number 8. Who are you? And it's what's the name?
Rob Ray.
Yeah, thank you. And then here I am, cocky as hell. Get a shift. I just shake my head now. The guy's played 20 years, and here I am, my first game. But no, it's kind of just a little bit of a.
Was Teddy Nolan the coach? Do you remember?
Yes, he was.
So Teddy Nolan probably heard you say that and said, "Razor, go! You got him next shift."
Oh yeah. Oh, he came out. He came out for me, 100%. Yeah.
Hey.
But I knew Rob. I met Rob later on, years later, at a golf tournament in Burlington.
Yeah.
And we talked about that. And I said, that was just me, just stirring the pot. And he goes, yeah, effer. But yeah, he's a good guy. Class act. Yeah.
He's a classic team guy, just like yourself, man. Yeah, you guys are both legends. That's awesome that you guys had that golf tournament together, dude. So yeah, man. I mean, there's at this point, Craig, your career was so good that I'm kind of picking and choosing what we talk about here.
Go for it.
Because I want to get into the coaching. So I'm just not getting into everything, but I'm getting into what I think that the listeners are interested in. Now, obviously, we're going to get into the Laval Chiefs, but I did want to talk about your experience in Manitoba with the Moose. And the reason for that is because I was blessed to be able to play against the Moose in that arena that is now an NHL arena, the MTS Center. I just thought it was so cool, man. Was it the arena they had before the MTS Center when you were there?
Yes. No. I didn't have the opportunity to play in the new one. It was always the old one. Yeah.
Okay. Right on. And were they putting up big crowds like they were in the MTS Center?
For the Moose, we had decent crowds.
Where was it though? You guys like the Jets are there. So where was it?
No. See, okay. When I went to the Moose, the Jets were not there. They were still in Phoenix. They were not there.
Oh, yeah. So this is after they left.
Yeah. So
pretty early on then for the Manitoba Moose to be in Winnipeg then, right?
Yes, okay. You got it. And that was a tough year for me. They're that was probably the toughest year of my life, buddy.
Was it really?
I tore a hamstring. Oh. I wasn't getting along with the coach very well. My head wasn't in the best places.
Yeah.
I'm still dressing every night with a torn hamstring and fighting.
Really? and I gotta remind the people that the year this is in. So this is 1997, 1998 season. I always say that the 90s and the early 2000s was the best time in hockey because it was when the fighting was at the highest per game and the scoring was also at the highest per game.
Yeah.
Once they tried to tweak with this and that what they ended up was no fighting and no scoring. right?
Yeah. For a long time.
Interesting how that works,
Yeah.
right? So now this is
Yeah.
at a time where every team's got a guy 100%. Most teams have
100%.
two. Now,
Yep.
that was a really, really tough time, dude. You actually fought that year with the injury?
Wasn't it the thing to do?
No, of course, buddy. No, of course.
I just it was a like kind of a messed up year, but I was asked to sit on the bench just to be that presence.
Yep.
And I just thought okay, I'll be a team player.
Yeah.
But I didn't think I was going to get a tap.
Yeah, true. Eh?
Yeah.
So, oh man. So they actually see. I've fallen for that one too. We just need you to dress. Yeah, but I don't even think I can skate and warm up. No, it's okay. You don't even have to. Just dress. The boys are going to feel more comfortable with you on the bench. The other team's not going to try stuff because they don't know if you're going to get out there or not. Can you please just do that for us? Yeah, of course I will. I'll do that. So that's what it was. And then you got the tap.
Yeah, a few times.
Wow. And
I laugh about it.
You laugh
What?
about it now, but you can't believe that you did it.
No, like I don't want to. Yeah, because like at the end of the day, at the end of that year, I was people were led to believe when teams wanted me to play for them the following year.
Yeah,
people were saying I'm not a team player, and I just said to myself, how can I not be a team player if I'm sitting on a bench with a torn hamstring? I'm going out to fight.
yeah.
But anyways, yeah.
100%. So, all right, dude. So
Move on, Sean.
we're gonna get into it now. So the Chief de Laval is probably the most famous team to be in senior hockey in Quebec. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay. So the Chief de Laval, based out of Laval, Quebec, just north of the city of Montreal. How did you get recruited for the Chief de Laval?
I was playing golf in Amherst on a golf course, and I came back from Germany, and Jeff Smith, he's an Ontario boy, and he was playing for the Ramblers, which is the junior A team at the time, and he started talking about the senior league, and I'm like, okay, whatever. He said they pay decent money, it's a tough league, Craig. You know what? If you don't know what you're doing, this is perfect for you. So next thing you know, Bob Berger. I don't know if Bob was still a part of of that when you were going through it. He was our owner. He was our manager, the owner of Laval. He's the one that brought in everybody. And so I remember I got a phone call. They said, come on up and watch a game, see if it's something you'd like to do. So they flew me in. I went to Laval, House of Pain. And I'm in the press box. So the rink is an old school rink. You have like a small press box area up above, raised up above the ice surface, and the two benches are across the ice. So I'm watching this game, and when it started, everything was pretty normal. And all of a sudden, one fight, two fights, three fights. They're going to be back to back to back to back.
Yeah. And
then there was a brawl, full out brawl. So I'm like, all right, I've seen this before. So what's the big catch? Across from the ice, you can see fire exit. All right. And I watched two players, opposite teams fighting. They fall through the door. So now all I can see is sparks from the skates. They're still going in the parking lot. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'll come here. No, but that was my first take on it. They flew me in. They let me watch the game. It was an absolute gong show.
Who are they playing? Like Verdun or something? Or
you know what? Back then, they're playing against a team called Joliet.
Joliet.
That would have been their Verdun. Yes, exactly. They all had about 6-7 tough guys each. And once the score got over 2 or 3 goals, you know how it goes. Let's go. You throw one on and it just keeps going. But yeah, I went. It was cool because it gave me a chance to go back to university. You know what I mean? I tried to pull some positives out of it. I met a lot of great guys. Probably took about 10 years off my life.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, no, it's what another thing, Sean, is that this too. Like during the season, okay, it's a shit show. Okay, it is. It's a gong show, right? But when the playoffs come around, man, that's hard. That's hard-nosed old-time hockey. You know what I mean? Like everybody's playing to win. You're not taking dumb penalties. It's gritty. It's hard. it's just something fun to be a part of, right? And
Yeah,
there's some serious characters there.
there's very serious characters, and I mean, I was gonna get into the definition of what Le Show is in that league, because Le Show is really what the difference is between that culture of hockey compared to the leagues in the States or Europe or anywhere else. And the Quebec Radio X was Jacques Dubé and those guys. And I know like that was when I really understood what Le Show really was. You know what I mean? And it was Jacques Dubé that actually said it to me. Like the first, I remember, because you know how you have to kind of get there's like a time that you need to get used to the league to become an actual regular in that league. It takes time to build up the mentality. Craig, my first game was against the Chiefs, but the team was in Saint Jean, and you know they have
Summons.
I'm sorry,
The Summons, or whatever they call themselves. The Summons.
yeah, Sutton Chiefs. So there's Sugden, Steve Bosse,
wow,
Cote.
wow, you're going into
the defenseman that was there when you were there, Matthew Raby.
oh yeah.
Man, there was all of them, man. Okay, all of them, and friggin' Anaheim Mighty Ducks guy Burnett, he's there too. So my first game is against them. Now Bosse was suspended. This was after Cote threw the net on the goalie, the St. George goalie. I don't know if you heard that happened.
I didn't. No, I never heard that one.
Threw it on the St. George goalie. This is in the Chiefs rink. St. George they don't want to, but St. George has no choice but to go out there and defend their goalie.
Yeah,
the guy literally got Burnett's picking up nets and throwing them on the goalie.
Crazy.
No one wants to fight the guy, but you got to go after him, right?
Yeah.
General, Bosse, Cote, they're all suspended, but Sugden and those guys are still there because they got like 7 guys, so 3 of them are done. So me and Sugden fight twice. We knew each other. We were competitors in the AHL.
Yeah.
So it was okay. Scored a goal. My second game in Sorel against Nasty Marasti, we fight twice in the first period, get tossed. What happens in the second period? General, my second game. Now, what I tell people is I am so happy I got that second fight with Marasti and I wasn't available for the General. I was in street clothes. Why? Because I don't know what I would have done. My mentality wasn't there yet. Like I wasn't there yet. Like I wasn't mean enough yet.
It's scary.
I didn't have Le Show attitude.
Yeah.
And sorry, I got off topic there. Le Show is the guaranteed entertainment that you're gonna get because you bought a ticket to the senior game. That's the culture. We have the players. We're going to provide that part of the game for you. It's called Le Show. Le Show is part of the LNAH, part of the Quebec Senior League back in the day. Bob Burger is probably, and you could tell way better, but Bob Burger, I think, was maybe the originator of Le Show, would you say?
100%.
So how would you guys discuss this in the room? Because I'll tell you what the Chiefs did when I played against them. But like you guys had, obviously there's rankings within the teams. There's the number 1s, the number 2s, the number 3s, number 4s, the number 5s.
Yeah. You get it.
And you know who you're going.
You got it.
You know, Link Gates comes into town. Craig Martin's gonna fight Link Gates.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And Burger, was he a big motivator too?
Oh yeah. Like, I mean, okay, when I first went to that league, it what like you said, they had to make like a lot of changes because it was just such a we had like 20 players on a team, 17 could go.
Okay.
The other teams might have 3. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it wasn't even fun. I couldn't even imagine what it'd be like to be on the other team, right?
Oh yeah.
Like, and when I first got there, it was a little bit even more like the show because at home, the tough guys wouldn't come on the teams, right? Because they just knew that it was going to be a show. But on the road, everybody would come because it's in their barn. And so we started to say, like, hey, we're not fighting on the road anymore because nobody fights at our building. We're not fighting. Well, that lasts about 6 minutes and then the fans are losing their shit.
Yeah.
But I was in the best I can describe it, Sean, was Slapshot. players in the stands, when I did my first year, players in the stands with skates on, and the trainers starting a fight every game. The trainers.
The trainer.
It was just, yeah. Oh, it was nuts, man. But yeah, so it just, but Berger, he would never say anything until it was time to say something. If we were getting beat, if we were winning and hitting and playing hard-nosed hockey and just no fights materialized, great, no problem. But if you're losing, or if you're just playing dead, like nobody's being aggressive or hitting at all, he would come down to the room. He would lose his shit, man. Like his broken English, like he'd call you out. And I liked it. Like he's paying you good money. He tells you right before you get there what he expects from you, and he'll treat you like gold. But I mean, like the first, like, but you know, if you're not doing your job, he'll call you out, man, like that. Like, oh yeah, he had no problem doing that. Not at all. And he would even try to hold back paychecks too, just to piss people off. And he'd always give it to you. But he just wanted you to realize, hey, you're here to do a job, right? So, and he was cool because as much as a lot of the same guys would step up, he was cool about guys taking turns. Do you know what I mean? Like give guys, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it was a different world.
You have to though, Craig.
And that's what you built that respect,
managers
right?
that don't believe in that their teams never excel.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, man. So now the 2001-2002 season was your first year with Laval.
Yeah.
The Chief de Laval. So that was also the year that the movie Les Chiefs is based on, correct?
Yes.
So the documentary movie Les Chiefs, LES Chiefs, ladies and gentlemen, I strongly recommend getting this movie. I know that I've seen it on the streaming things now. I'm not sure if Netflix has it or not. I mean, I watched it on DVD several times. It's one of the best hockey documentaries that I've seen. I from the music to the Levesque story, like man, like I don't know why. I think it's because I'm such a big fan, but I was such a big fan of that movie, Craig. You know what I'm saying? And I loved it, man.
I didn't even know what it was about when it was going on, because when I first went there, I went there ahead of time. All right. Like, so I was staying with all the single guys and everything. Right. And they, as you know, in the movie, they lived in the rink, and I lived in the rink with everybody. And, yeah. So when, Mike Bajorny and his brother, when they started coming around with the video cameras and stuff, I mean, we were just playing. We didn't know like what they were really doing. So things would just unfold. But now when you see the final result of it, the picture, yeah, there's a story there. There is a message there. I still remember Tim, I'm the guy that Berger talked to. Said, Craig, I got this guy coming into town. I don't know him that well, but he's supposed to be a big guy from Ottawa. Can you go pick him up? I went to pick him up, and I tried to take care of Timmy the best I could. He's like, he's a strange bird. But yeah, big man.
Yeah, man, he's a big man. He's a character for sure.
But yeah, it was something. It was something.
Yeah, dude. It was like for me, it kind of like it normalized the situation that I was in. I joined the league in 2006. This movie was based in the 2001-2002. So it wasn't very, very long. I mean, it probably came out like when did it come out? In like 2003?
Yeah, just probably, yeah, right, yeah, around there, yeah.
Only out for 2 or 3 years when I got there, so it's still a pretty hot ticket. It normalized things for me. I really liked it as a fan. I thought it was great. The parts that you have in it are wonderful. They interview quite a few. They interview you quite a few times. Obviously, you were the highest status tough guy on that team. You mentioned the Bajorny brothers, so. Was it Bajorny's brothers production company that made the documentary?
I think so. Because Mike was playing with us, and then I remember his brother they had video, like they had video equipment and stuff. But when they came around towards the middle and the end of the year, I wasn't around because I was with a woman at that time and stuff, so I wasn't around. And it was more based on the single guys and maybe the English guys that were around the rink and stuff. You know what I mean? So I just wasn't around those guys as much. So, but yeah.
Well, the other thing is, Craig, is that, you were the NHL guy, right? So like I saw that, when they interviewed you, I think you were in your place, which looked really nice.
It was a rental.
It was what? No, I know it was a rental, but I'm just saying like, because I mean, like anywhere else, and like we were talking about before the recording, that the Quebec Senior League, which is now the LNAH, semi-pro league, is a league where I believe it deserves a lot more credit now. For a guy like from Ontario, like myself, or a guy from the Maritimes like yourself, that's not from Quebec, it's like being an import in Europe. Because yes. I mean, I don't know, but I mean, I'm pretty sure for you it was like that because it was the Chiefs, and you have a lot better hockey resume than I do. But I made so much more money, bro, in that league than I even made in the American Hockey League, right? For us guys that were role players, it was the Hollywood of hockey. Yeah. People don't understand that. They don't understand the way that we were treated. We were treated like rock stars.
Yeah.
Biggest rock star city in the country.
Yeah.
Right? We're in our 20s and 30s, and it's the biggest party center in the country. And we're the rock stars of the hot ticket in town, other than the Montreal Canadiens. But Laval, like, that's the ticket, man. When you played there, they were filling the rink, right?
Oh, it was like I said, they're hanging. Oh yeah. It was, and especially when you go against the teams like the Verduns at that time, the Sorels, like it was just, and then like you say, you get your 2 fights, you get in the fight, whatever, you still have 150 people waiting as you're walking out after the game, or you're going into the bar for a beer because they all want to have a beer with you. Like you said, it was a different experience. It's an experience I would never change for the world ever. And yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, they respect it. There was a lot of passion, a lot of care, a lot of love for the game.
Yeah.
And Sean, like you say, like the show goes on during the season, but when that playoff comes, everybody goes back to that hockey that they know and that team game where you're trying to win something, right?
Yeah.
And that was pretty special too.
Yeah. And even in the documentary, I mean, part of the biggest message was the fact that the tough guys that they were following around that were at the rink, because that's mostly what it was based on, right? Never got an opportunity to play in the playoffs except for you, the NHL guy.
It's crazy.
Right?
It's crazy.
And even Bergerny, he didn't even, like, in his interview saying that he didn't get a shot to play in the playoffs either. And he was upset about it because of the work he put in the regular season. So, I mean, that's fast-paced, hard-hitting, lots of emotion, hockey that we all love. It's just incredible stuff in the playoffs, man. Really good, solid hockey. You guys won the championship that year. That's pretty cool, man, to win the cup. I never did that. That's awesome. In Laval, what was the team party like for that championship, buddy? And is Berger a fun guy to hang out with, or what, man?
Oh yeah, like Bob will sit like Bob. Like we used to go into his office, like Mike Henderson, myself. We go into his office like just like before practice. After you only go in his office when you're doing well as a team or you're doing your job as an individual. Other than that, you don't even want to be around him. You just want to avoid him, right? Yeah. But no, you go in there, he'd be always like, "Hey, who else can I bring in? Here, look, I got this list. Who's this guy? Do you know this guy? Is this guy? Look at the stats." And he just always wanted better and better. But yeah, he's a great guy. Just like I said, he's a passionate sports guy. He had a vision. He likes hard-nosed hockey. But at the same time, he wanted a team that won too. We just went out there and fought every night. Yeah, sure. In the back, financially, it's probably set, but he wanted a team that could compete and win too, right? So,
yeah, for sure. So the other thing that comes up quite a bit is, like, for example, people that played in the KHL at times, like I played with guys like Freddie Brathwaite, they were paying cash at those times. They were getting big amounts of cash, once a month. And when you're making $1 million a year, like Freddie Brathwaite, those are big payments, right? You're getting paid before practice, Craig. Where are you going to put that 40 grand, Craig? Where are you going to put it? You're going to put it in your car? You're going to put it in your stall, in your jeans? Where are you going to put it, right? You know what Freddie Brathwaite would do? Put it right in his pads. Kept it right in his pads, but the money's not going anywhere. Staying taped right to my leg. I'll deal with it after practice. I don't know why they would do that to them. That would cause so much anxiety for me to be on the ice. Saying, get off, man. I got my paycheck. On the door. You know what I mean? Like it was some crazy stuff. What was the situation with you guys in Laval? Were you guys getting like this is the thing, like Morassi, Sugden, what we agreed on is it happened in the past. They don't do it like that anymore. It has to be all check. Everything has to be claimed now in the league. The biker gangs aren't associated with the league anymore, but all those things were different before. And it's okay to talk about it. It's okay that we did it. It doesn't happen anymore. Everyone's okay with that. We all recognize that. Were you guys all getting paid in cash like we were in Saint-Hyacinthe?
Yes.
Okay.
It was always
making
cash.
more money in Laval than you were in Adirondack, for example? Or
overall, absolutely. Overall, by the end of playoffs and everything, absolutely.
And then once those 2 months of playoffs, all that cash, I'm sure
exactly
some bonuses. Your place is paid for. Sounds a lot to me to an import. You're going into a different culture, different language. It's an area that wanted to separate and be its own country. So like I'm just saying, like the culture is so different that a guy like us going to that league was the same as a 50, 60 point man in the AHL going to the DEL. That's exactly what I'm trying to make. Yeah. And did you agree with that? Because man, it's right on point similarity.
Yeah, you're 100% right, Sean. It is. The only, I don't want to say advantage, but the only experience that I would have over others is that I played my junior there. So I had some from, you know what I mean? I had some familiar. Yeah. Right. So So I understood I understand the French culture. I understand, that the guys, the players, because they're very competitive, as you know. They don't like to lose.
Yeah.
But 100% bang on. We are imports. We're there for a reason. You're making money for a reason. Our house is paid. Ultimately, cars are paid. School was paid. There's so many, whatever you could negotiate, right?
Yeah, it's important to talk about, Craig, because they even have they have cooler stuff now. Like it's not cash like how we made. But I mean, when you really come down to it, it was nice to make that cash. There was advantages to it, but sometimes you want to have stuff claimed. Sometimes you want to do your tax returns.
Well, that's it, right?
It's get now.
Yeah,
guys. Sorry, go ahead.
No, see, that's awesome. That's just another. That's another just something that we didn't have a chance to do. You're building your credit, all that stuff, right?
Man. And the other thing is, Craig, is a guy like this day and age, the league is 6 teams strong. I think guys are making anywhere between, and you get paid per game now. It's paid per game now. It's not weekly, bi-weekly. It's per game. That's how they do it now, league wide. So
paid per game.
Oh, yours was per game too. Back.
Yeah.
Okay, we're done. Okay, so then they haven't changed that then. Just now it's all in check.
Okay, really? Okay.
Yeah, it's all checked.
Okay.
Everything's claimed. It's all good. There's the combined insurance company that all the players go with, because you pay about $100 a month, and if you get any stitches, you get any injuries, you get a combine insurance payout. Every player's on it. There's a bunch of pretty big character players in the league that do it as their job, like their customer service agents or whatever, trying to get guys to get it and stuff. couple of the captains of teams in the league now. So like it's like the players have insurance. They're everything's claimed. Guys are getting their school paid for. It's a really healthy league now. They're down to about 1 to 2 guys on every team now. Right. And because there's just the 6 teams, they're trying to get it like it kind of died down a little bit, just like all the other leagues, bro. Like 2-3 years ago, it was like down to 1 guy, and then 1 or 2 teams didn't dress a guy sometimes, and it was like, what's going on here? Is this not right? But this year, there's about 2 guys on every team. Every team healthy, 2 guys. Guys are slugging it out, padding after. It's a beautiful thing, bro.
Okay.
It's a beautiful thing.
Checks, I guess, for me anyway, checks would have been better because you got cash in your hand. You leave in practice with 20 other guys with cash in your hand. Yeah.
When that first game that I was telling you about against Sugden and those guys, I'm sure you got a signing bonus too. And one of the big things with St. High is they offered me the signing bonus, right? And so the signing bonus, they told me that I was going to get after my first game. So Pierre Peltier was the coach in Saint-Hyacinthe. I know he was your coach. He was all over that movie. He was all over that movie. Peltier was in the movie the most, right?
Peltier.
Emotion. You got to play with emotion, right? Peltier was my coach, bro, in St. High.
Yeah.
So trust me, I know like Lachaux.
So you know.
I know. Peltier's Lachaux. He's all about Lachaux. He is all about Lachaux.
100%.
The strategies he would have to take out their toughs, and then they play no more. Craig, I need you to take him out, and then you hold them back. And it was incredible, man.
Yeah.
The vision he had.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure it was the same from 07 to 08. I played for him. You were him.
Yeah, it was.
Beyond.
Yeah, it was. He was good. He was good. Like, I butt ahead with a little bit. All of us did because, but that's fine, right? Yeah. He wanted to win. You know what I mean? We have our jobs, but like you said, Sean, he was there to protect you too, right? He was there to strategize, but he wanted to protect his tough guys to a certain degree, I guess.
Like I remember, Craig, and I'm sure I know this was for you. This would be the funny thing. The funny thing for me is I spent my whole career protecting my teammates, my whole career, because I was the guy, right? Yeah. Now I come to this league from the AHLs. I'm the big AHL guy that played in the NHL, my 1 game, right? And so now I'm a decent player at that level because I'm coming from the AHL. Yeah. And the thing is that they protect you because you fight your first time. If you fight again, you're gone.
Exactly.
He doesn't want you out of the game. He needs you right to the end.
Yeah.
For the first time in my career, a guy would come after me, and then one of my teammates would step in and be like, "No, you're fighting me. You're me. I'm the guy. Leave McMorrow alone."
Yeah. Yeah. Hey,
this is all right.
Yeah.
This is what it feels like. I'm doing my whole career, man, screaming on the back. Oh, fuck, don't touch him. Don't even look at him. Don't even look at him. Look away. We did everything, right? And it's cool because the mindset in that game is the tough guys that can play are so valuable that you've got to keep them in right to the end. So Craig Martin, he's going to fight the first shift of the game. But you guys make sure Craig does not fight a second fight till the end of the third. Was that what it was like for you guys?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. God did watch each other's back. Yeah, we all went through it. But there's nights too where guys are just like they wanted the night off. So it's just like, whoever's on the ice at the time, they had to suck it up. It's me, let's go. I remember we went into the video. It was the video, the documentary. We're playing against Rivière-du-Loup, so Gates, Lynx.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say people are afraid of him, just that he has a reputation. So I'll never forget. It was the first shift of the game. I was on the bench. First shift of the game. He went after one of our guys, tough guy.
Like,
No, he didn't go.
went after to fight him, or just they
Yeah,
took a run
yeah.
at him?
No, just went after like to slap him. Hey, let's go.
Let's
No
go.
fight. Then he did it again the next shift. So I'm on the bench and I'm watching this. I'm like, right, well, somebody's got to fight this guy because now we're supposed to be the big bad Chiefs. Somebody has to fight him. So I come on the ice. Sure enough, I get the puck, and he just two hands me.
No way.
So,
Why was he being
So
so
what's-
aggressive in your ring?
and
It was
it
one of
was in
those
his
things.
barn. It was in his barn.
Oh,
It
it's in Rivière du Loup. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So he two-hand me, and I remember before that game, there's fans there, and we're out taping our sticks, and the fans are like, "Who's fighting Link tonight? Who's fighting Link tonight?" And then I'm saying, "Oh, well, one of us will fight him. I'll fight him." "Yeah, you won't fight him, Martin, SD, Martin." And I said, "I'll fight him. What do you want? To bet a case of beer?" And he goes, "Yeah, bet a case of beer." So after I fought him, I saw the fan right there, and I just went to him, "Give him the beer."
Yeah. Yeah, man. Right
It
on.
was funny.
I
Yeah.
remember in the movie, you described one of the fights with Link, but I think that one was in Laval that you're describing in the documentary.
Okay.
But I'm sure you guys fought plenty of times, right?
Few times. Yeah.
Right on,
Yeah.
man. So you spent quite a time there. Was it 4 seasons or 5?
4/5, yeah. 4/5ish, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was in 05. I think 05 was my last year. I played a half a year when not Tedford. What's the other place? St. George with
St.
Christian.
George de Beauce.
Yeah.
St. George de Beauce.
The Bulls.
The Beauce, man. That's a serious place.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. And then so like, but what my point is that Laval was your longest stay with one team,
Yes.
right? So,
Yeah.
so that's got to be, that was a big part of your journey.
Yes.
Have you seen Bob since?
No. The last Bob kind of started to like take a back seat to stuff. And then
Yeah.
and you know how it goes there too. Like once your time is pretty much coming to an end with a team, it comes to an end with a team. And so other teams like Saint Jean were asking, and other teams were asking to play for them. So now everybody's trying to like capitalize. Like, what can you give me for him? What, how much are you paying me? All this stuff. So, and then I ended up in St. George. And then I just ended up, I was done. Because, it's hard on the body, right? You know that, Sean.
No, of
It's hard
course.
on the body. I
Of course.
started that league when I was 30. So, I still had a little jam left. But I mean, after 2 or 3 years in that league, like, holy, yeah.
No, it's definitely a lot. And I mean, what comes with being treated like a rock star, being treated like a king, having a guy like Bob Burger, like really be happy to hand you over an envelope of a lot of money on a weekly basis. What comes with that is also like the mental wear and tear just as much as the physical, Craig. You're going in for a war every night. You have to get yourself up for this. You have to be excited about it. You got to be nervous about it. You have to have a lot of emotions, or you're just not going to have enough in the tank to get through it.
Yeah.
Right. And it really is the show. Those people think, those people, you people, the same as Don Cherry said, I say it all the time.
Laugh, Greg.
What's that?
I'm just listening. Oh, give her.
What about the Don
listen-
Cherry comment?
Yeah.
He's been a special guest on the show as well.
Nice.
Oh man, I was with the Mississauga Ice Dogs for a little bit, and so I got to meet Don early on. He owned the team, and the fact that I played in Rochester for 4 years, and Rochester was such a big part of his journey, so we have that in common. So when I got in touch with him and his son Tim Cherry, that did all the Rock'em Sock'ems productions over the years. They were like, yeah, they were game. They were like, yeah, one of his ex-players wants to interview him now. It was the first time that he did an interview since CBC fired him and stuff like that. And, as a guy, like, I'm sure you're a huge Don Cherry fan as well, right?
Love him, man.
I knew you would love him. And, we're both black hockey players, and we absolutely love Don Cherry. And I was very upset that people thought this guy was racist, because I know that he's not. He was my owner. When I got traded from that team, he made a point to come into the arena that day at the Hershey Center. I don't know what it's called now, but he came into the arena at that point, called me into the hallway, said, Sean, you know what? This is part of the business. We really love you, buddy, but Larry Mavity really wants you in Kingston. Okay, it's my hometown. You're gonna have a great time there, and I want you to know if you need anything, you ever call me. And he gave me a hug. And I'm a black hockey player, dude. He's not gonna do all that shit if he has any bad racist bones in his body. He has nothing like that. And I was determined to get his stubborn old butt to say that he was sorry, because that was the only thing that CBC wanted him to do. And he was just too stubborn. He didn't do it. And we all know that. We all know he's old school. He didn't think he did anything wrong. In one way, he didn't. In another way, it was politically wrong. You know what I mean? There's no black and white about that. So I said to Don, I go, Don, you know what? It's people that look like me that got the miscommunication mixed up, you know? So would it not be fair to say that those people that were offended, that got it mixed up, that, you know, that you're sorry that they're offended because you didn't mean to hurt anyone's feelings? And he said, you're absolutely right. He just needed a little push from someone that was acting like he was on his side. He was like the enemy because it was such a tense time with all this racial stuff that was happening in the country, and then the George Floyd and all this stuff in the States, and all these, and then the Black Lives Matter, and then all this stuff happens, and then Don Cherry says, you people need to wear poppies, and then they're like, no, that's not, you can't say it, you gotta get rid of them. And I was so upset, man. Were you?
You blame me? Well, yeah, because that's just not the way I look at Don Cherry. Like, I was fortunate to meet him early on with Chris Draper walking down the street in New Brunswick. Yeah, when he owned the Cherries and all that stuff. Right so, on. No, man, that my experience with him, with grief, that doesn't even enter my vocabulary. It's not even, you know. So yeah, it was disheartening. Absolutely.
Yeah, and like, I mean, like, I had people really close to me, man, that honestly thought that he was like a bad person. I'm like, you have no idea. Like, to see what the media could. Sometimes the media can really twist things up, man. And when, like, you know what I mean, when it's a political thing and they're trying, like, you know what I mean, some people really get screwed over. And I really believe that Don got screwed over in that situation. They made an example of him. He should have apologized. He should have. And I told him that. I go, Don, I really wish you apologized, buddy. I really miss you watching you on TV, man. You know what I mean? Yeah. Too bad that it has to be that, right? But that's off topic, Craig.
Yeah.
I know we're also short on time. But because I have you on the show, right? As a visible minority hockey player, as a Canadian hockey player that loves Don Cherry, I wanted to talk. I wanted to ask you how you felt about all that, because a lot of people got the wrong idea about a Canadian icon, man.
I had an experience with them, and I felt the way I felt about him based on that experience. So that's all I go on, is what's in front of me. You know what I mean? So I can read into things all I want, but you know, he was cool with me when I met him and we talked face to face. So that's what I go by. So,
the
rest can for somebody else.
The last thing with the Chiefs is I wanted to ask you, what percentage of your fights do you think were the 20-minute mark of the first period? How many games did you start? Were you guys starting a lot of games?
You know what? I started a lot, but not all. Like, but a lot though. Because Sean, you know,
right? Kind of.
Yeah. Well, you know when it's another team and all the boys are starting.
Yeah, just get it out.
You're trying to send a message, right?
Yeah.
Or it's on the road. Yeah. So there's a commercial that used to be on the Montreal radio station, and it says the puck drops at 8:00 and the gloves drop at 8:01.
Make sure you're in your seat when this one starts and all that type of stuff.
Yeah. So, but Sean, I started a lot of games. Started quite a few. Yeah.
Just because we're on this topic, I know that there was an attempt to start a similar league in the Maritimes. Do you know anything about that?
No.
Okay.
Wait, no.
They were like, I remember the promotion was, if you don't see 3 fights before the second period ends, then everybody gets a free pizza in the arena.
Oh my goodness. No, I never heard about this. No.
The league only lasted like the one season, and they just didn't have the interest or whatever in it. They couldn't get good enough players to create interest, right? But yeah, so So with Laval, I mean, it's so cool that you won the championship. You guys made it to the finals the second year, right? That you were there.
We won my first 2 years, and then we made it to the finals the third year, and we lost. Yes.
You guys won back to back.
Yeah.
So Bob was very happy with you, eh? Like in the
Oh yeah. Like we had, like, because like he, you know what, he did bring in tough guys. He did, but he brought in tough guys that can play. Like, you know what I mean? At that level, and he brought enough skill that it just gelled. Like,
yes. Well, guys like Henderson and like yourself, like, you guys were like regular ice time and number ones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, like Hundo had the luxury of just basically, once Berger started bringing in guys such as myself and yourself, Hundo had the luxury that he was a good enough player where he could pick and choose whatever he wanted to do, right? Because like we fit that role, and then other guys that filter down, like you said, the second guy, the third guy, and Hundo could just do what he wanted, right? Score some points and just do what he wanted, right? So he's a great captain. He was a great captain. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. So he had the C.
Yeah.
Right on, bro. Right on.
Did you ever play lacrosse?
Did I ever play lacrosse?
Yeah.
I never played lacrosse only because that Don Mills team that I played for, we were in the most tournaments. We broke records for entering tournaments. My coach was always good at tournaments. He loved being on the road, right?
Okay.
A lot of people do. So we were so busy in the summer, man, that there just wouldn't have been an opportunity with the team that I was on. We were literally 12 months. All these tournaments. We played way more tournaments than any of the other AAA teams in our age group. So, was lacrosse a big part of your journey?
No, not at all. But just being here in Toronto now, like, and just see, you know what I mean? Like, it's just it's a big thing, and so just curious.
Oh yes, for sure, buddy. So so Mr. Craig Martin, we're gonna finish this with the coaching. Okay, it's very important stuff, very exciting stuff. What was the first role of coaching that you had? Yeah, like you're at the point that you're at now, which I'm sure you have a little announcement to make, if you can. But what was the first role of coaching that you had?
The first role of coaching that I had was myself and a good buddy of mine named Matt Ripley. And we were in Amherst, just in our home little town. And there was always an annual tournament, like old timers tournament. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think we must have been maybe 13, 14.
Yeah.
And we were just, rank rats, right? We're always at the rink watching whatever's going on. And it was a men's league. It was a men's league championship. That's what it was. And we knew the guys that were playing, and they were having difficulty against the other team because the other team had two guys that played for the junior team, and these guys could just light it up. So next thing you know, me and Ripley are standing on top of the bench, like coaching these, I don't know, we were 13. They must have been 17, 18, maybe 21, whatever.
Yeah.
And we're coaching these guys. We're telling guys to shadow guys and what to do. We won that champion. We helped them win that championship game. And we weren't even a part of anything. We just happened to start talking to our buddies on the bench. And next thing you know, we started coaching them. And so to answer your question, that's the first time I ever was in a coaching role. Like it just popped in my head when you asked that question.
Right on.
But since that though, I would have helped coach, like in a semi-pro as I got older, and on my way out, I kind of helped Bobby Dallas do a little bit of the coaching. And then after that, just a little bit with Isaiah's team early on, which is one of my sons here. And just being around my kids and just kind of being like just if any coach needs any assistance, I'll come and help pick up pucks, move pucks, whatever. And I guess I would just say it was this year really is my really big, like coaching those U8s here at Ted Reeve. And, so we have a great year, and that's kind of going to develop into something else. Is that where you're going with this?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Are you allowed to say?
So I don't know. I guess so. Sean's probably like this. Yeah, no, I just found out yesterday that Don Mills, like your alumni, just called, and they would like myself and my coaching staff to be the 2023 whatever you want to say, like team to take on that. So that was pretty cool. I found that out last night. I haven't told anybody. I just told my son, and you're the next guy I just told. So I'm just kind of still taking it in, and
Yeah.
the work begins.
Right on, man. So is Victoria Village still the home arena for the Don Mills Flyers?
And yes, it is. Yes,
Okay,
it is.
awesome.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Bermondsey and Eglinton, right?
Yeah.
Right on. So gas stations
it's
right there.
My goodness, I might be calling you, man, because I
Any
know
for
another level.
directions? Yeah, buddy. I played. Yeah, so 9 to 15, 6, and then minus the 1 year in Wexford. So yeah, 5 years, 5 years for Don Mills. They gave us a plaque. Me and another guy got the 5-year award for
Nice.
being in the organization. Yeah, so yeah, no, Don Mills was great, man. I was very proud to play for that organization. Obviously, it's got the Philadelphia Flyer uniforms, very cool.
Yeah.
Some years they would have like this kind of retro orange, so some years the uniform was mostly black. Like they had some fun with it, man. But I guess the same as Philly did, right? But yeah, no, that's awesome, man. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Just so the listeners know, man, oh man, is this former MTHL, now GTHL? Is this ever a competitive high? It's got to be the highest competitive level in the world for those ages. No, Toronto, the mecca of hockey.
You guys, yes,
it's got to be, man. Right?
Sean. Yeah, you know this. I'm still learning. I've got a lot of great people in my corner. But yeah, like it's another level, man. Like it is. It really is.
Yeah.
And what's really sold me on the Don Mills is that like we live in the East.
Yep.
And I just always saw kids going to the West. And then once I had an opportunity to meet with the two owners, Gus and Peter, and you get in that office of theirs, and you would be a part of that history. When I'm looking around at the pictures and the plaques and just the history and the culture, I almost broke down.
Really?
You know what I mean? There's so much there.
Yeah.
And that was my only. If I was going to do this, and as I am, that was my only. That's it. I wanted Don Mills. I want to be part of that and try to, help them out and do something great there, or nothing. So yeah, I'm fortunate.
It's a really, really, really big deal to be the coach of the Don Mills Flyers. So congratulations for that, buddy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Also, I was trying to think of. Wardo. I don't know why his name slipped my mind. Joel Ward, same thing, man. I think he played 6 years for Don Mills, man.
Really?
Yeah, and Joel Ward is 2 years older than me. He's an 80. I'm an 82. So you know how it goes every 2 years, right? With so yeah, Wardo would always be playing right after me. He was the only brother on that team. I was the only brother on this team. And Trevor Daly is an 83. So he was a year younger than me. Trevor was so good, man, that he would play up with us a lot. So he was a star defenseman. I got the opportunity to play with him he would always play with us in summer tournaments. Sometimes they'd even call him up, and I don't know how they were able to do that, but yeah, he played up with us. And so there's a lot of history there, buddy. That's it's a nice arena too. And the fact that it's somewhat close to like where you live, again, an east side team. You mentioned that you're in like the Leslie area, right, of Toronto?
Yes.
That's a great spot, man. I'm really proud of you, buddy. I couldn't believe how big a characters your sons look, man. These guys are going to be they're the real deal, man. They're a real deal.
They love it. Like Marcus, Isaiah loves it, man. Like he'll lives and breathes Leafs. Like he'll watch it, like break it down. Oh yeah, like they just got my juices going again, just their passion. And Marcus, the humble beginnings, like snow angels on the ice rink, drive dad nuts. But now the kid's a good little skater, good little player, and they want it. And like with mom and myself, we're like mom, I can't say enough about her. Like she just support. If they want us to give them that shove, we'll give it to them, but we just support and just to try to guide them through. And we know that it's a beautiful game, but it's when you get going up, there's a lot of things that people don't know, And, so just, as long as they can just love the game at the end of it, man, that's where we are anyway. Yeah.
Exactly. So when we were their age, size was a really big deal with our sport. And, size would sometimes be the difference between a kid, like if he's going to make it or not. Right.
Absolutely.
Where now it's not like that anymore because of the rule changes. Being big was such an advantage. Like you said,
Yes.
You being 250 pounds, being able to move around at that age, they're like, geez, let's just bring him in right now. Right? Like it was very attractive though, right?
Yeah.
And then now it's a little bit different. And I talk to the young ones these days and they don't believe me. They're like, it wasn't that big of a deal. I'm telling you, man, you know how many times I was told by coaches, Sean, you can't teach size. You know what I mean? Like it was like, I find it interesting, but what I'm getting at is, are your sons big?
Yeah.
Because they were sitting.
Yeah. Isaiah's like a miniature me. Like he's husky. He's husky. He can play. He can move. Good hands, way better hands than I ever had. Like sees the ice, beautiful passes. He plays D now. Good stay at home, but he's that guy that hits you every time. But big boy. Yeah. Marcus is lean. Marcus is going to be tall, but Marcus is lean right now. So he's got that lean nastiness to him, right? So they're two different bodies, two different builds. Isaiah's like he's solid. Like he's a little muscle. He has a little muscle. And, when he decides that if it's AAA or wherever he wants to go, if it's any higher, when he even wants to make that choice, like, cause it's sacrifices and you got to be like, what's the word I'm looking for here? Starts with a D. Dedicated. Discipline, Sean. And, they're young, 10 years old, right? But I mean, I see it, I know it. And when he's, when he wants to get there, then he can do whatever he wants, right? Until then, I just think he just have fun.
Yes, for sure. 100%. I love the attitude that you have with this. The other thing I wanted to mention was I noticed earlier that you mentioned there was a time in your career that I think it was when you were in Hull that you didn't really know what you were capable of. You didn't really understand how tough you were. You didn't understand how dangerous you were because you hadn't done it yet. Right? So now your sons having you with your experience and your know-how with that journey, are they confident kids because their dad tells them how awesome they are or what?
They're confident. Marcus doesn't need to be told. Well, Marcus is pretty confident on his own. Isaiah, I believe he's a confident kid. I don't know, like he needs help. Isaiah needs guidance. I believe that he has the skill. Sometimes he has to believe he has that skill. And you know how like coaches have such an influence on our kids. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? So I've lost Isaiah's. Lost his ear, but I try to dial it back on him to let his coaches coach him a little bit. So, but yeah, I'd say, we try to remind Isaiah, you know what, you're a good player, you're special, have fun. Or what I'll do is I'll grab ice somewhere and we'll just go play some shinny and just back to the roots, back to just having fun, dangling, having fun, goofing around. Yeah. Find that joy again. Yeah, they were in Sean. So yes, they do need to be told. I try to watch, saying how proud I am of them. I just kind of I try to use the terms you're proud of yourself. Try to build it up that way. And I try to really keep. It's tough, but I try to keep my conversation short. Yeah. After game, good game, whatever. And I had to change. I had to change a lot because being a ex-player, I'll dissect everything, right? Of course. And I'm not shitting on him or anything, but I'm dissecting. And I remember last year, a couple of years, he goes, "Dad, there's no making you happy." That's his comment, and that shook me like that. And I said, "Yeah, you make me happy all the time." So I just knew I had to change my way. And so now we get along good now, and so I think they're doing all right. They're on the right path.
What did they say about the fact that you were such a dominant fighter? Like when they see a video on YouTube of their father pumping Rob Ray, what do they say, man? What do they say?
Sean, I don't even know if I know they have watched because they're all over YouTube. I'm sure they have, but
Yeah.
I don't know if I mean, we might have sat and watched a couple of fights way back, but not really. And so we don't talk a lot about it. But he'll give me the gears like, oh, well, you only got that. Only got an assist, or you only played this. So it's you only.
But
I say, hey, great. I say, great, man. So you know what? Pop it. You know what I mean? If that's what you want, you know?
Yeah, but like, see, the new generation, they don't really understand how big of a part that was of the game, man.
No, exactly.
They don't, because it's not there anymore. That part of the game isn't there. I'm not just talking about the fighting. I'm talking about the build-up. I'm talking about the emotion. I'm talking about the storyline. There's a lot of stuff, Craig, that's missing from what the hockey used to be when there was the enforcers.
Yeah. Well, just like, just momentum shifter or anything, big hit, anything, man, just stirring the pot. Like, Sean, we do. You know what? Now that you say that, Sean, I do have conversations with Isaiah. He plays the point, and there's times that they're double A. So there's times that it gets gritty enough, as you know, where players are like getting a little chippy. Players are starting to touch goalies. And so, I just, sometimes I have a conversation when I see things develop on the ice, say, what's going through your mind? Like, what happens? What goes through your head when somebody pushes your goalie or bumps in your goalie? I've seen you stand and talking to the guy. Then you had two guys in front of you, and then you're kind of like worried about the referee and talking to him. I say, what was going through your mind? Like, I try to walk through it with them.
Yeah.
So, you're right. Like, I do talk to him more about it than I really realized I did, actually. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
For sure. It blows my mind just how different things are. Like, even like, I remember being in minor hockey, like, we went to a couple, I think this was like Pee-wee and older. We went to a couple of tournaments in upstate New York, and we had a couple brawls. Bench clearing brawls, man. Like, that would never happen now in minor hockey, would it? Like, you're a coach. Would that happen now? Or has the culture changed so much?
What I've seen, it could happen, Sean. It could happen at a dime. Because and I see not a lot, but I do see some pretty dirty freaking plays, but like where somebody's like blatantly like, hitting somebody from behind, and you're like, you have like history, you have experience, and you're like, that was not a mistake. So it just takes one kid to like, just, you know what I mean? So I can see it happening. Absolutely. And for that reason, Sean, like, I don't know if we've gone too much the other way. We could have that debate back and forth. You know what I mean? Tough guys in, tough guys out. I just think that, it wasn't broken when we policed ourselves. So because we took care of the goal scorers. Yeah. You know what I mean? So the league didn't have to. We did it, right? So.
Yeah. Do you find that funny how almost on a nightly basis, there's a new caption that we're all used to? How many games do you think he will get? How many games do you think he will get? And sometimes you're seeing a play of a guy just rubbing someone out. How many games do you think he'll get? Oh, you shoved him when he turned away. How many games? But that happened every shift 20 years ago now. Yeah. I can't believe what they're suspending guys for, Craig.
I mean, like, I follow. I don't follow like that much anymore. I watch the least with my son Isaiah. But I mean, like you said, like when the highlights come up on on TSN or Sportsnet, and then there's a lot of stuff there that you can like, okay, it's hockey, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you got to suspend a guy if he crosses someone in the face, or like what Austin Matthews did the other night. I wish they would have fought so badly. When I saw that, because I watched that game, I actually watched that game. Okay. And when I saw like the back and forth, I mean, that Dahlin guy, great player, but man, is that guy ever a wuss? I'm telling you, like Dahlin, pretty boy, I'd love to have him on my team because it's okay for like 2 or 3 guys in the team to be like that. They can be wusses as long as they get their 30 goals, right? And Dahlin's like a little baby girl, like, don't touch me, Matthews. And then Matthews cross-checks him in the face. Did you see it?
No, I didn't see it. That's what I'm saying.
Matthews got a 2-game suspension for cross-checking the top scorer on the Buffalo Sabres in that outdoor game in Hamilton. Outdoor game. It was right at the end of the game. and he cross-checked Dolan in the face in front of the net, got a 2-game suspension. But I really wish they won. It was Dolan.
There was build up.
Yeah, like
There was build up.
It was what? Sorry.
I said there was build up. Like they were going at it all game.
No, like just that shift. Like they were in front of the net. They were pushing each other back and forth like a couple times, and it looked like they were going to go. It would have been awesome. Yeah. Austin Matthews against Sabres top scorer in Hamilton, Cops Coliseum.
Oh yeah, man.
Not Cops Coliseum. Tim Hortons Field, where the Ticats play. Cops Coliseum. That's where we played when we would go to Hamilton.
Yeah, man.
But and that was quite the place, eh? Yeah, Craig. I mean, this has been like I said, like the last half an hour, I was picking and choosing. You had such a storied career. I love the insight that you gave in this episode, buddy. It was exactly what I was looking for. I knew I would have a lot of fun with this just because of your personality. But what surprised me is the top-notch elite level of the knowledge of the game, the understanding of everything that we talked about. And I really know why you got promoted to this coaching position, buddy, because not only are you probably a great coach, but you're a great example and you're a leader. And that's what the organizations want. They just want all the biggest leaders to be their coaches, get the players to thrive. Let's get them all to the next level. And like, that's really what it's all about, man. I wish you the best of luck, man, with the Don Mills Flyers, buddy. I'm so proud of you, man. I love it, bro. I'm a 5-year man.
Brother. Thanks, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. Is the legend of Craig Martin, is he willing to come back for a part 2 on the Sheriff podcast?
Absolutely. Sean, be my pleasure, man. I hope that I'm living like an exciting and eventful life that is going to be entertaining for people.
Buddy, it's so exciting. I'm telling you, there's a lot of people that want to hear from Mr. Craig Martin, man.
Right on.
And buddy, and obviously Quebec is one of them, but I'm not just talking about Quebec. I'm talking about everywhere, all around the world, man. But the people in Laval, man, you are such a legend there, bro. You're such a legend in the province of Quebec, man. They absolutely adore you, man. I heard Craig Martin stories when I was in St. Hyacinthe, when I played in Jonquière, which is the team they have up in Saguenay now. And yeah, bro, there's a lot of supporters of you. You made a really big mark there. Obviously the movie made you guys kind of internationally known. But like the movie was just the movie, man. You guys put in the work. You guys paid the price for that fame, bro. And it was really cool. Hats off to you for that. Yeah. I also think it's awesome. I want, like, you know, there's the Hall of Fame. There's all these things. What year was the Hall of Fame? It was 2018.
Oh, is that like the multicultural one? Yeah, I think so. 18 or 19. I think it was 18. I think so.
2018 into the multi-ethnic Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
You know, with our boys Bill Riley and McFarland.
Yeah. Have you had McFarland on yet?
I haven't had McFarland on yet. You know,
I'm telling you, man. He's got the stories. He's Billy's son, right? So stories. Yeah. But with Mac, like the guy's just the career, the path that he lived, like you know, like he won a Memorial Cup his first time out west. He's won he won a national championship at Arcadia. He's won about at least 5 championships.
Yeah, he's Mr. Champion.
He's interesting. He's an interesting guy.
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, if you guys happen to cross paths, if you talk to him, to say, hey, man, you know, the sheriff really like you on his show.
Okay,
and show some interest. Let me know, and you know, and then I could have you as my main recruiter because everybody loves Craig Martin. I'll just joking, buddy.
Hey, so Sean, let me say this because if there are people from Quebec like listening, I know I'm going to forget some people, but Richard Savaria. Okay. That was Bob Burger's right-hand man. And Richard was like him and Bobby did everything together. So Richard, I have to give a shout out to you as well. So that's it.
Yeah. If Richard listens, he's going to absolutely love that, bro. That's incredible. That's incredible stuff, buddy. Man, this is just, I'm so happy with this, bro. There's going to be a lot of feedback on this. We hit up a lot of topics. There was some very serious stuff. There was mostly fun stuff, and overall I had a great time. And I really appreciate you coming on, man. And some of the things that we were able to get into especially like in the beginning before it started getting loose. It was very important topics, had to be talked about. I hope other people talk about it as well and put in that energy, because there's a lot of history that still needs to be told. The past 5-10 years, Martin, we've seen progress in the inclusiveness of hockey, in people being aware of some of the history. They're recognizing Willie O'Ree right now, but like I said, Herb Carnegie needs to be in the Hall of Fame, and there needs to be a lot of support for the knowledge of the history, especially for Black hockey players from the Maritimes. There's a lot of stories to be told. It's a big part of history, and I'm so glad that you're able to be a part of these stories today, buddy. And
it's a pleasure being here, Sean. Thanks for having me, buddy.
Oh, no problem, buddy. And I want to thank the listeners for tuning into another episode of The Sheriff, featuring special guest, the legend himself, Craig Martin. And I want to thank you for coming on again, buddy. And we're going to sign off now here, guys. Woo!